Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play 428 Shibuya Scramble. Last time, Minorikawa is helping his friend save his struggling magazine company by going around the city to get the scoop on some various stories. Kano is still hot on the trail of the various members of this organized crime group. Syndicate? Yeah, syndicate. Yeah, that's more correct. Yeah, he's hot on their trail, and they might have some ties to some terrorists? I'm not entirely sure where they're going with that, but yeah, it's getting pretty real. Achi is still trying to save Hitomi, like, you know, running around the city with her to escape the guy with the cane and the gun. Tama is just trying to work. Can't really blame her. And Osawa, well, I mean, you know, he found out that his pharmaceutical company is kind of experimenting on humans. And also his daughters have been kidnapped. So he's having, like, the worst day ever. Kind of feel bad for him. Anyway, I'm curious to see where this is going. So let's start off with Kano. Kano had been watching syndicate members hand off the attaché case for an hour and a half. He still had no idea where this relay might be headed. The man he was tailing now was about 10 meters away. Close enough that Kano could close the distance and apprehend him at a moment's notice. But his orders remained the same. Follow and observe. He watched as the case was handed off once more. By now, the shock of seeing it pass to yet another accomplice had worn off. It's already been 90 minutes, huh? Oh my god. It was Sasayama. At some point, he'd crept up on Kano from behind. They don't seem like they're trying to get away at all, Kano said. They're just walking. What could they be up to? Sasayama shrugged. Yeah, it's weird. Kano recalled Dick Dictum number 89. I missed these. Dick Dictum number 89. The more irrelevant something seems, the more relevant it's bound to be. If Tateno's wisdom held true, the syndicate must have some reason for what it was doing. Were they just trying to throw the investigators off their scent? No, that couldn't be it. They were wandering in circles, staying right in the same area. They were just running up the clock. What if that's exactly what they were after? Buying time. Kano felt a sudden conviction that he was on the right track. If they needed more time to make sure they got their hands on the ransom payment... Wait, hold on. Could it be that... I don't think it's this. Because they never had a chance to open it. Oh, but no, the guy on the motorcycle, he was out of Kano's sight? I'm gonna go with A. Could it be that the real case had already been switched out? It made a certain amount of sense. By handing the case off to one accomplice after another, they were leading the detectives to pay more attention to the individuals than the case itself. That could enable them to swap the case while all the focus was elsewhere. I know where it happened then. Kano shared his hunch with Sasayama. I see. I mean, it is a possibility. Yeah, he might be following the wrong case. There was palpable tension in the air now. Kano, Sasayama said, you gotta report in to Kuze. On it! Kano's hand flashed to his wireless. But Kuze was dismissive. No, that's the case, I assure you. No offense, sir, but how can you be sure? Kuze sighed. Because that's my job. There is an ID tag in that case that allows us to keep tabs on it. There's no way these crooks could have whipped up a duplicate. ID tag? What ID tag? Wait, no, that's right. Kano had forgotten all about that detail in the wake of his all-nighter. Oh, right. Don't you oh right me. Clearly you weren't hired for your brains. Focus on what you're good at. Kuze ended the call. Still, Kano couldn't shake his conviction that something was off. The man with the attaché case made his way back to Shibuya Station. The heck? Sasayama grumbled. He's right back where we started. Kano felt his frustration growing. It honestly looked like the syndicate was just randomly lugging the case around town. Near Shibuya Station, a girl approached the suspect. She was Japanese and entirely unlike any of the other criminal accomplices. She spoke to the man while showing him something on a notepad. He glanced at the pad but did not slow down. Within moments, he had left her behind. It looked like she'd just passed him a message. Well, that's sure fishy, Sasayama muttered. What, the girl? Asked Kano. Yeah. Wanna go hit her up? Sasayama could only mean one thing, questioning her. Yeah. Let's go see what she knows. Sasayama and Kano hurried over to the girl. Excuse me, miss, we'd like to ask you a few... Are you happy with your life? The young woman shouted. She thrust her notepad in Kano's face. Tell me this, are you happy with your life right now? Huh? Looking at the notepad, Kano saw the same question written there in big bold letters. The girl's eyes widened in surprise as if she hadn't expected the two men to actually stop and listen. Right now, sir, she continued more quietly, are you happy? If so, could you please take the survey about, about your life? Are you happy with it? The more she spoke, the more flustered she became. Sasayama stepped in. Hey, I need to know, did you speak with that Western fellow just now? Huh? No, that isn't what I'm asking. Sir, are you happy with your life right now? Are you happy with your life right now? Kano got a sinking feeling in his stomach. This kid was looking for religious converts or something. You did speak with him, didn't you? Sasayama snapped. What did you tell him? The girl's rambling abruptly ceased. Her already ruddy face went even redder and tears welled up in her eyes. Poor kid, Kano thought. She's just out here trying to get people to listen to her survey questions. There's no way she's part of this kidnapping plot. Look, miss, he said, for the time being, it would be a good idea for you to leave the area. Afraid I'm not at liberty to explain. The girl's only response was to start sobbing outright. I can't do this anymore. I want to go home. Kano and Sasayama exchanged awkward glances. I want to go home. I want to go home. Passerby began shooting curious looks at the trio. Kano, you get back to work, Sasayama said. I'll escort this girl to the train station. He didn't quite manage to stifle the embarrassment in his voice. Right, Kano said. He hurried away, his eyes already searching for the suspect they'd been tailing. It didn't take long to find him. The man's black garb made him stand out in the crowd at the intersection. It occurred to Kano that all the criminals who'd handed the attaché case had been wearing the same black clothing. That fact made the whole situation even weirder. Could they really be ignorant that they were being followed while they were all wearing the same eye-catching outfit? It was more like they were going out of their way to make sure the investigators spotted them. They still didn't provide any clues as to what they were after, though. The longer Kano kept telling these guys, the less it all made sense. Was it really such a good idea to keep this up? Someone's life was in danger and they were just letting the kidnappers carry out their plan, whatever it was. The very first page of the Dick Diaries spelled things loud and clear on that front. Dictum number 1. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Ever. Right now, the single most important thing was ensuring the hostage's safety. This was a situation where Tateno would have stuck to his guns for sure. Kano thought back to that day 3 years ago. A burglar had shut himself inside a financial office and doused the place in gasoline. Kano had just been put on police box duty and was ordered to the scene because his box was just down the street from the standoff. Nobody is assigned to a detective post right after graduation from the police academy. Detective positions can be quite hard to come by. Candidates are selected for detective training only after accumulating enough experience working at the local police box, a very small type of neighborhood station manned by only a handful of officers. Several officers had surrounded the building, keeping close tabs on the situation. The suspect was shouting nonsense through the entrance on the first floor. Things were getting heated. Get it? Because gasoline and he's got arson? Yeah, okay. A crowd of alarmed onlookers had started to form as well. "Step aside," a voice said suddenly from amidst the throng. A middle-aged man in a rumpled business suit had approached Kano as he hovered nervously at the edge of the scene. "I'm sorry, sir," Kano said. "You have to stay back for your own safety." He attempted to usher the man back into the crowd. A no-nonsense look crossed the newcomer's face. He spoke in a low voice. "I'm Detective Tateno, from the Shibuya precinct. What's the situation?" "Oh, sir, I'm so sorry. Yes, of course." Kano stammered, then quickly explained. "He hasn't taken anyone hostage, but there are still people on the upper floors of the building." Giving only a slight nod, Tateno marched straight up to the building. The plastic container of gasoline the suspect had used was on the ground out front. Tateno picked it up and dumped the remaining contents out over his head. Kano was at a loss for words. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. "I've covered myself in gasoline too," Tateno called out from the entryway. The tension in the air ratcheted itself up several notches. "Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?" Kano heard the burglar shouting from inside. "If you're gonna do it, Tateno called out. "We can die together." And he walked into the building. All Kano could do was watch things unfold through the plate glass window. Tateno was talking to the burglar, but Kano couldn't make out the words. The crook was clutching a lighter, his hand trembling. His expression was like that of a frightened child. Tateno slowly approached him and took firm hold of his shaking hand. The onlookers erupted into cheers and applause. Tateno handed the now docile suspect over to the detectives, then wearily sat down against the planter out front. It was like something ripped straight out of a police drama. "That was amazing," Kano breathed. "You have to deal with guys like that as quickly as you can." "Oh, you let a situation like this get even a little out of hand? You never know how things might go south on you." Tateno spoke quietly, almost as if he were talking to himself. As police evacuated the rest of the building, Kano noticed that there were children and elderly people among them. If the perp had managed to set the fire, there was no way they would have escaped in time. But I mean, what if he'd actually set the place on fire? If someone's willing to risk their life, you're not going to convince them of anything unless you can do the same. Not wrong. At all. Holy shit, that's deep. Okay. Kano still remembered the awe he'd felt at Tateno's matter-of-fact tone. Kano hadn't become a police officer out of any real sense of duty. He just thought it would make Rumi happy if he became a detective like her father. Besides, civil servants tended to stay afloat in times of recession, and his time playing rugby meant he was in good physical shape for the job. And then the COVID hit. Yeah, these civil servants, granted, some of them are still working, but yeah, they got hit pretty hard with layoffs. He'd never really thought too much about protecting the citizenry or keeping the peace. But now, here he was in the presence of a detective who'd literally risked his life in the line of duty without a second thought. A police officer never loses sight of what he's supposed to protect. Ever. Getting back to his feet, Tateno tugged off his gasoline-drenched coat and walked away. Kano wrote his words in a notebook he'd just purchased. Thus, the Dick Diary was born. I had to. Just so I can share that without context. Thinking back to the way Tateno had put his life on the line to rescue a bunch of strangers made Kano feel all the more raw about just tailing these syndicate members. Letting the crooks just wander around wasn't going to bring Maria Osawa to safety. Of that, Kano was now certain. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Ever. He uttered the fundamental dictum out loud. Well, you've lost sight of it completely, a voice said out of nowhere. What? Kano spun around. It was Shizuo. Rumi was with them. Sir, Kano stuttered, weren't you supposed to be waiting at the cafe for... There was some low life there, so we left. Rumi's dad looked plenty mean under ordinary circumstances. Right now he looked like a man possessed. Oh, I beg your pardon. I'm still on duty at the moment. I'm going back home, Shizuo huffed. You're not marrying my daughter. He turned to walk away. No, please, just wait. I'm done waiting. Now I'm going home. Please don't do this. Just hear me out. I've heard all I need to hear from you. Rumi, we're leaving. Dad, please. Goodbye. Seizing his daughter by the hand, Shizuo stormed off without another word, dragging her behind. Shinya, she called out over her shoulder. Rumi. She was gone. Rumi was gone. Kano desperately wanted to go after her, but he hesitated in an agony of indecision. I can't turn my back on my responsibilities. I'm a detective. My work has to be my first priority. Going after Rumi isn't what a good detective would do. Oh, Detective Tateno, what should I do? Tateno, Still, the dictum echoed in his mind. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Ever. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. 6 months later? Okay, well, this is definitely a bad end. Kano made his way through a small corner of a vast field in the Nagano countryside. Slowly and leisurely, he tilled the soil. He'd surprised himself with his own newfound enthusiasm for organic farming, learning more from Shizuo day after day. His father-in-law had taught him the ways of farming from the ground up, and while things had been rocky between them at first, their friendship was now growing strong. Oh my god. Pausing to wipe his brow, he smiled at the acreage around him. He looked forward to tending the crops he'd sown until harvest came around. If he'd stayed on as a detective, he might well never have known the joy he now found in his work. And this wasn't the only seed Kano had planted. By the time harvest season came around, the new life growing within his dear Rumi's belly would be ready to celebrate it with them. I'm sorry, how is that a bad end? He quit being a cop and he's now a farmer. And he's having a kid. He's feeling fulfilled. How's that a bad end? Kano went after Rumi and Shizuo, proving his devotion and earning her hand in marriage. Now he's a farmer in Nagano, and crime in Tokyo is someone else's problem. But hang on a sec. Why weren't Rumi and Shizuo waiting at the cafe like they were supposed to be? Well, there's no way for Kano to know about how one man's bit of curiosity at that cafe led to this strange twist of fate. A low life at the cafe? Faye. Oh, was that Minorikawa? Because he said he had to go somewhere to, like, write the story. Minorikawa stood on the sidewalk, weighing his options. Chiaki's phone call had thrown him for a loop. He had expected her to be anxious about doing interviews, but wow, she was a real basket case. Still, it didn't change the fact that he had a schedule of his own to keep. The surveillance camera story had to be his top priority. Chiaki would just have to find some way to fumble through things on her end. He headed on down Dogenzaka, scanning his surroundings as he went. There were cameras set up on streetlights all over the place. There were so many it was hard to believe he'd never noticed them before. One over there, another just over here, electronic eyes peering down on passerby from high above, where they were tougher to spot. Just how were the people who came to Shibuya reacting to this situation? Hey, you there! Minorikawa called out to a man riding by on a bicycle. Hey you, stop! The man brought his bike to sudden stop. Taisei Yasuda, proprietor of a knick-knack shop in Utagawacho. Roughly 30 minutes earlier, while he was wandering around the JR tracks picking up lost and abandoned items, Achi foisted off his trash onto him, and so he's in a bit of a foul mood. Since then, he's been going along on his bicycle, still picking up things from the roadside. There's a trunk on the back of his bike where he stores his finds. Huh? What's the matter? He asked. Hi, the name's Minoru Minorikawa. I'm a freelance writer. Okay. I'm just doing interviews for a magazine, and I'd like to talk to you. A magazine? Which one? 4-Star General Gossip. Minorikawa did his best to sound proud. Oh, well, I'm actually in a bit of a hurry here. Minorikawa soldiered on. See that? He pointed at one of the nearby surveillance cameras. What? The man asked. The blimp? A massive blimp was indeed drifting slowly overhead. You're telling me about a blimp? Okay. A type of aircraft that floats using the lift provided by an enormous envelope filled with lighter-than-air gas. This envelope, the balloon, is often used for corporate advertising. This particular blimp has been puttering about the skies above Shibuya since last night. No! The camera! The camera watched them both in uncaring silence. Oh, that! What about it? What do you mean, what about it? Those cameras have been installed all throughout Shibuya. They're taking in anything and everything. Privacy be damned. A shocked pallor came to the man's face. Oh, really? He muttered uneasily to himself. I guess I should be careful next time I go picking stuff up. Hey, what are you talking about? Minorikawa asked. Oh, nothing, just stuff. Way to dodge the question entirely. Anyhow, I think there are some good things about the cameras too, the man said hurriedly. Oh? Minorikawa asked. Such as? Well, I mean, they must have helped catch some crooks, right? Yeah, I think you're right about that. Oh, I am? The man looked shocked to have his own statement confirmed. Are you hiding something from me? Huh? No, nothing in particular. The man shook his head vehemently. Nothing at all, really. Well, whatever, Minorikawa said. In any case, even if the cameras are helping in arresting criminals, there are some places where people just don't want to be watched. Huh? For instance, how would you like it if someone set up a security camera inside your home? What do you mean? I mean, a burglar might try to get into your home. If you had a security camera, you could be alerted right away. Isn't that kind of an extreme argument? Nope! You're the one making the extreme argument here! What? The man stared bewildered. Me too? You're saying it's okay for folks to film people around town as much as they might like, but not to take a look inside people's houses. Yeah, I guess I am, the man mumbled. You are really putting words in his mouth, Minori. Minorikawa snorted. You don't think too deeply about things, do you? He mocked. The man huffed in indignation. I don't see the problem, he said. I mean, it's a normal enough opinion to want to bring down crime but also protect privacy. Well, yeah, so if they're just going to set up cameras around town, I'm okay with that. Minorikawa grinned inwardly. You're being naive, he said. Way too naive. Naive about what? By now the man was getting worked up. Once you start letting people watch you some of the time, you will eventually let them do it more and more. That's how the world works. A simple change in camera angle is all it'll take to steal the last traces of your privacy away. That's kind of funny coming from you. Doesn't 4-star general gossip get all of its scuttlebutt by invading the privacy of others? Since when are you people concerned with personal privacy? Meaning what exactly? Minorikawa asked. You know damn well what I mean. Have you no shame? I've got nothing to be ashamed about, Minorikawa exclaimed. If some celebrity scandal breaks, I write it up in the form of a top-class, socially conscious expose. That's the Minorikawa seal of quality. The man rolled his eyes. Please, as if anyone's ever heard of that. This frickin' point. Your everyday freelance reporting. Oh, wait, is that the man talking? Whatever. Your everyday freelance reporter would say something about how security firms have no right to use cameras to disrupt personal privacy. But not me. Oh no. I'm the only guy who'd write a first-class piece on the subject. And you want to know why? The man's only response was a doubtful look. Because privacy only exists for me to utterly demolish it. See, I was on your side for a minute, Minorikawa, and then you just say this foolishness? Minorikawa finished with a prideful grin. That's nothing but journalistic arrogance, the man railed. Oh yeah? Yeah, I'd rather have surveillance cameras any day. If the alternative is some weird gossip piece. This time, Minorikawa didn't have a handy retort. An awkward silence descended over the pair. Right, I see. Minorikawa muttered to himself as he busily scribbled in his notepad. The man was visibly taken aback. Thank you for your cooperation, Minorikawa said at last. You gave me some good stuff. He held up a hand to forestall an angry retort. I realize I probably got you a bit riled up. You'll have to forgive me. What? The man peered up at Minorikawa in disbelief. This is just my interview style. Sorry, I know it's a little unorthodox. Buddy, you're a weirdo, you know that? The man said. Yeah, I hear that a lot, Minorikawa laughed. So can I go now? Sure, I'll quote you as passerby A in my article. Sure, whatever, the man muttered. He quickly sped off on his bicycle. That was like the worst interview I've ever seen in my life. Minorikawa now had some material for his surveillance camera piece. He wanted to organize what he'd managed to put together so far. He decided to head toward his next interview location, keeping an eye out for a cafe where he could stop to work on his copy. He used the map included in the project proposal to guide him. It was hard to read the words and make out the details, but it looked like the Nokane building where the Burning Hammer demo was being held was just down center guy. There was no indication of which floor the event would be held on, however. Just get to the main desk and ask. That made him a little anxious, but he'd probably be able to find someone to point him in the right direction once he got to the building. He spotted a cafe up ahead. Coffee, please, he shouted as he strode inside. He slumped down in an open chair. Hopefully he'd be able to hole up in here until 1 o'clock working on his article. If he couldn't have it done by then, finishing the whole issue by the end of the day would be a tall order. He pulled a cigarette from his overcoat as he waited for his computer to boot up. Having a smoke was Minorikawa's little trigger for getting into writing mode. The state of being in a mood to write some text. As Minorikawa goes about his job, he switches between writing mode, interview mode, food mode, and sleep mode. When busy, he'll sometimes go into writing mode and food mode at the same time. Sometimes even straying into sleep mode in the midst of food mode. When he's even busier, he'll eat and write mid-interview while nodding off. This is known as ultimate mode. He's amazing. He stuck the cigar in his mouth and lit it up. With the first heavy draw of smoke, he felt his mind focus, rather. The rough idea for his article came to his head nearly fully formed. All he needed to do now was get it all written down. Finally, his laptop finished booting up. You gotta love Windows 8. Took you long enough, pal, he muttered to the computer. His hands leapt to the keyboard like a predator, pouncing on its prey. In a matter of moments, he had hit his stride. His fingers clicked away. One by one, lines of text filled up his screen. A waitress stepped up beside him. "Excuse me, sir." But Minorikawa was in writing mode. He didn't even hear her. "Sir? Sir, I beg your pardon." Again, Minorikawa was deaf to the waitress's attempts to get his attention. "Sir, excuse me." The waitress smacked the table. "Quiet!" Minorikawa snapped. He slammed the table right back. "Don't interrupt me while I'm working. Not if you know what's good for you." The waitress didn't so much as flinch. She leaned in aggressively, getting right in Minorikawa's face. "We stand this, queen." Kumi Omiya, employee at Kolabo Cafe. While appearing cute and demure at first glance, she's quite strong-willed and frightening when angry. She works nights at a place called the Scolding Pub, where customers rent private rooms in which they are scolded at length by attractive girls. One middle-aged businessman once told her, "Your face looks simply marvelous when you're angry." That's hilarious. Also, what do we have to do to get one of these over here in the States? "Sir, I hate to bother you, but I have to ask you to please refrain from smoking." Minorikawa blinked. "Huh?" "This is a non-smoking establishment, sir." "No smoking?" Minorikawa asked. A cigarette bobbed in his mouth as he spoke. The waitress pointed sharply to the sign on the wall. The words "no smoking" were spelled out, clear as day. "We ask that patrons please not smoke so the other customers can fully enjoy the aroma of their coffee." The waitress drew herself up in arrogant triumph. A woman sitting at the table next made a face as she tried to fan the smoke away with her hands. Customers all around the shop were glaring at him. "You guys don't know the first thing about the aroma of coffee," Minorikawa scoffed. "The scent of coffee only truly comes to life amidst the choking stench of tobacco smoke." The waitress's only response was to jab her fingers again. But this time she didn't point at the sign, she pointed to the door. "Sir, if you're going to smoke, please take it outside." Sometime later, sitting inside the Cafe Lautrec, Minorikawa lit up his third cigarette. At last, a safe refuge. Just had to find a smoking-friendly establishment. It had taken him quite some time to find a place that allowed smoking after he got kicked out of the first cafe. In recent years, many cafes and restaurants have phased out the concept of the smoking section in favor of prohibiting smoking across the board. This makes a place like Lautrec especially important to smokers. There are large air vents in the ceiling to help keep their interior more agreeable for those who do not smoke. But yeah, I think like that's even happening over here in the States, where more and more places are figuring out like, oh, wait a minute, smoking sections do nothing because, smoke is a gas and it can expand around. Like the smoke doesn't care about your well-defined smoking or non-smoking sections. It'll still go wherever it dang well pleases. So yeah, that's why some places are just getting rid of them. Now he was in a rush to make up for lost time. His flaming, fiery keyboard fingers of doom. His fingers flew over the keyboard at lightning speed. The more he wrote, the harder he focused. At this rate, he'd have the story wrapped up in no time. "Today, you hear me?" A voice intruded suddenly on his awareness. One of the other customers was shouting, "You're breaking up with that fellow today." Minorikawa's fingers drifted to a halt. He looked around to see where the voice had come from. An older woman, or man rather, red in the face, was shouting at the young woman who sat across from him. "Please, Dad," the woman pleaded. "Stop. You're making a scene." Ah, a father and daughter then. It was rare nowadays to see a father behave so imperiously toward his own daughter. Just how sheltered had he been trying to keep her? Minorikawa couldn't see her face from where he was sitting, but his interest was piqued. No, just keep working. That way, they probably won't be incentivized to leave the cafe. No, he reminded himself that he needed to finish his article. Besides, if this young lady looked anything like her father, he'd just as soon pass. Minorikawa went back to his typing. It took a few minutes to reestablish his writing groove with the two still bickering across the room. But thankfully, he soon regained his focus. So we got Minorikawa focusing on his work, and Kano is free to just follow the criminals. What's that? His hands went still as a strange noise intruded on his reverie. Whatever it was close by. What in the world is that sound? Focus. Well, never mind. I need to focus on finishing this article. Minorikawa tried to immerse himself in his writing again. For long, he stopped worrying about the curious sound. Time passed. Eventually, the pace of his writing slowed down a bit, and Minorikawa glanced at his watch. It was later than he thought. Pretty soon, he was going to have to head over to get an interview from the diet drink people. He reached into his bag for the project proposal to double-check the demo location. Huh? The proposal, it's gone. Crap, where the heck did it go? He checked all around the table, but he didn't see it anywhere. Maybe he'd left it at the other cafe, the non-smoking place. Well, he couldn't, or didn't have time to go back for it now. The phone rang. "What now?" Minorikawa snapped as he answered it. A tiny squeak came through the receiver. It was followed by the sound of sniffling sobs. "I'm sorry. Chiaki? Was she done with her interviews, maybe?
It's no use. People won't stop to talk no matter how hard I try."
Her voice broke into further sobs. "Oh, come on. This again? Really?"
"I can't do it. Don't worry about paying me. Just please let me go home."
Minorikawa was already operating on a too tight schedule. He didn't have time to worry about Chiaki on top of it all. Look, just slow down and take a breath. And keep at it a little longer. He should have seen this coming when he first called her. Her shyness was practically pathological. But if he cut her loose now, all this frustration would be for nothing.
"But I can't do it," Chiaki whined again. "Please, just forget you ever called me."
She hung up before Minorikawa could get another word in. He tried calling her back, but she didn't pick up. "Damn it, Chiaki! Don't you dare bail on me!" Leaving money for his coffee on the table, Minorikawa jumped up and bolted from the cafe. The plaza outside Shibuya Station was as crowded as ever. Minorikawa looked around, but there was no sign of Chiaki. She bailed. Minorikawa dropped to his knees in despair. His last hope had up and left. There was no chance he could even ask. Or no one else he could even ask. Damn it! Alright then, fine. I'll do it myself. He dragged himself back to his feet. Alright, listen up, he shouted at the passing crowd. I'm doing street interviews here starting now. You guys, shut up and help me. I mean, don't shut up, but help me. Well, that's fucking creepy as shit. Holy fuck. Okay, Woo. That got me. He wound up blowing way too much time just to get 2 pages worth of content, leaving himself unable to finish the other articles. In the end, the issue of 4-star General Gossip never made it to the newsstands, and Heaven Publishing went down for the count. So what did I do wrong there? Chiaki calls it quits. Without Chiaki, Minorikawa just couldn't get the gossip finished in time. What made her run off the... That was shot. That was... Oh... Chiaki shows up in Kano's story at 12:10. One of the decisions there is what ultimately put her over the edge. That was actually... Okay, so both stories are like intertwined. That's actually pretty neat. But also, like, that was smart. They never showed her face, so I was just thinking like, oh, who's this random girl? I don't know, but that was her. Yo! Okay, guess I'll go back to Kano's story then? Well, we got some parallel butterfly effect going on here. It's gonna be interesting. Wait, what? Okay, because A, they didn't give me the chance to, like, select anything. But I guess we're just continuing along with this. Thinking back to the way Tateno had put his life on the line to rescue a bunch of strangers made Kano feel all the more raw about telling the syndicate members letting the crooks just wander around wasn't going to bring Maria and Osawa to safety. Of that, Kano was now certain. Shoot, it's bleeding pretty bad, he heard someone say behind him. Oh, wow. He turned and saw 2 young men carrying another along. There's a towel wrapped tightly around the third's head. Hey, what happened? Kano asked. Shut your mouth. Kano blanched. Can the attitude. He's trying to help, another voice cut in. It was Sasayama. Had he finished dealing with the girl by the station then? What happened to your friend? Out of my way, man. I ain't afraid to kick your ass. Look, cut the crap and let me take a quick look. Sasayama unwrapped the towel from around the young man's head. Ooh, that's nasty. The young guy was a little more than a kid. His head was soaked red with blood. He appeared to be unconscious. Juvenile affairs or hospital? Hospital. They were in the middle of a job, but they couldn't just leave him like this. Should probably take him to a hospital. Kano offered to help carry the bloodied young man, but Sasayama stepped in front of him. He quickly flashed the 2 youths his badge. Oh crap, you a cop? Sasayama nodded. Who you kids with? Bamfs, badass motherfuckers? Shibuya's number 2 gang, his leader, Sohei Akari, has gathered up some big mean dudes in an attempt to make Shibuya his turf. The gang's leadership is inferior to that of SOS, but on an individual level, the members tend to be stronger in a fight. Word is that the rise of the BAMFs is one of the reasons SOS has been growing more combative recently. SOS? SOS, admitted one of the young men after some hesitation. Who attacked you? Yo, it ain't like that. What was it like, then? Infighting? The young man was silent. Sasayama must have been right on the mark. In the course of his police duties, Kano picked up a fair amount of street gossip from the young people in Shibuya. Lately, the scuttlebutt about the legendary SOS gang was that they were dealing with some internal strife. Look, don't worry about it, I get it. There's a hospital just down that way. Hurry up and get him there. The young man batted off Sasayama's offered hand, then quickly hauled his friend away. Sounds like SOS is on the verge of breaking up with all this infighting, huh? Kano asked. He kept his eyes on the young men as they headed off. Yeah, seems like it's been pretty rough. You know, what with the original leader leaving and all. The detectives in juvenile affairs were well acquainted with SOS's original leader. That would be Achi. Initially, SOS was nothing more than a small group of like-minded young people who hung out together, but as its membership grew, the general public began referring to the group as a gang. Word has it that back when Achi was in charge, gang members never started any conflicts themselves, but simply responded in kind when others brought fights their way. The stories were like something out some after-school special. There were tales of them taking down gangs who sold drugs to kids or breaking into Yakuza front offices to save their friends. The detectives with juvenile affairs took these stories with a grain of salt, but if there really were young people like that out there, Kano hoped to meet them someday. You kind of already did. In some alternate timelines, that is. I need to go back and fix your thing so that... Okay, whatever. The detectives had to hurry to catch up with the man they were tailing. He was still strolling along, seemingly in no particular hurry. They kept him in sight as he crossed another pedestrian overpass and circled back around. Still following the same MO, huh? Sasayama grumbled. Guess so, Kano said. How'd things go with the girl? He was careful not to take his eyes off the mark as they talked. He managed to calm her down and get her on a train. She was going on about how she wanted to go someplace far, far away, but whatever, it's all good now. Feel kind of bad about the whole thing, Kano said. Well, she's not pertinent to the case anyhow. Guess it's back to dogging this guy. Sasayama nodded toward the suspect, looking none too pleased. So, Sasayama, I'm thinking the Achi case is going to get handed off again any moment now. Huh? Sasayama peered at the mark, who was scanning the plaza he'd just entered, apparently looking for someone. I take one side, you take the other, Kano suggested. Sasayama's eyes went wide. Say what now? That way we apprehend both perps involved with the handoff. Sasayama didn't reply. Look, HQ isn't thinking about the hostage's safety, Kano said. But that needs to take priority here. Sasayama's face took on rare solemnity. That is not a word I have seen. Solemnity? That's a word. Disobeying a direct order is not something to do lightly. You ever heard of a space? Like the space bar is like a pretty large key on the keyboard, just saying. The detective's behavior is governed by the Local Public Service Act. Article 32 states that a detective is to faithfully follow the orders of his superior in the course of his duties. Violating this is punishable by a warning, reduction in pay, suspension from duty, or dismissal. In the event of a warning, not only is the individual expected to submit a formal letter of apology, but pay raises may be delayed or performance bonuses cut. Then after a moment he added, but I'm on board. I'm sick of all this wandering around anyway. That's the Sasayama I know, Kano replied with a chuckle. Sasayama gave him a quick, or silent, thumbs up. two detectives took up position on opposite sides of the plaza. Kano called up Sasayama on his cell phone. "You ready?" he asked. "Just give the word." There were only two non-Japanese people in the nearby crowd. Both were eyeing their surroundings anxiously. Kano was certain the handoff was about to take place. And then... Well, well, well. If it isn't Mr. Toyama. Kano's ears perked up at the sound of an aggressive greeting, the voice dripping with feigned cheer. He whirled around to see two rough-looking young men confronting a father and his daughter. The older man looked pained. "Please, just hold on," he said placatingly. "I thought we agreed on 4 o'clock. The young man snarled. "Don't you try and play dumb with us, buddy." "It's nothing like that, I swear. My girl was just hungry, so I just stepped out to..." "Yeah? How come you didn't just order delivery, huh?" Yes, right. I suppose that would work, too." "Don't you, me, man." Kano watched the argument uneasily. The stranger's altercation put him in a bit of a spot. The crook he was tailing probably wouldn't risk handing off the case with an uproar like this going on. "What's going on over there?" Sasayama asked. "I'm not sure," Kano replied. "Looks like some kind of argument? The suspects are going to get wary on us. It's going to screw up the whole handoff." "Yeah, I know." "So do something about it and get over here," Sasayama said. "What?" "Find some way to shut them up and then get over here." "Oh, sure, all right." Kano headed toward the argument. He was only halfway there when Sasayama called again. He sounded panicked. "Hey, Kano!" He made a run for it. Huh? Oh crap. The man they'd been tailing had vanished in the brief time Kano had taken his eyes off of him. "See, you screwed up dictum number 1. "Wait up!" Kano shouted. Sasayama was racing after the suspect and Kano rushed to join him. The man was surprisingly quick, however, and neither detective managed to catch up. In fact, they soon lost sight of him amidst the teeming crowds. Frantically, they dashed through the streets as fast and hard as they could. Yeah, this is about to be a bad end then. "We lost him," Sasayama admitted at last. "Damn it!" Okay, so Kano cannot be distracted by the argument, I'm guessing? He stamped his foot on the asphalt in disgust. "Director Kuze," Kano gasped over the wireless. "I'm sorry, but we lost the man with the attaché case." There was a heavy sigh on the other end of the line. Kano braced himself. He wasn't going to be able to weasel out of this one with just an "we'll do better next time." "Sasayama, Kano, get your asses back to the precinct." Kuze out. With that, Kuze switched off the line. Back to the precinct. Kano knew full well what they meant. They were off the case. There was a gnawing in his gut. If those two punks hadn't shown up... No, if that father and his daughter hadn't turned up, he might have been able to apprehend the suspect. Why blame them? Just blame yourself for getting distracted, yo. Don't let it get you down, Sasayama said. I mean, paper pushing can be kind of fun. The look on his face, however, suggested he didn't think it was fun at all. Not one bit. With the pair... No, oh my god. With the air of two men heading to an execution, Kano and Sasayama trudged back toward the Shibuya precinct. That's a bad end. Kano was taken off the case because he lost track of the suspect, thanks to a random altercation nearby, and his glum conclusion was correct. If that father-daughter duo hadn't shown up, this wouldn't have happened. A certain someone needs to give those two some better advice, and a certain other someone needs to meet up with them outside his or her house. Both of those are key to changing poor Kano's fate. So someone give better advice and someone meets with them. Could the former be Minorikawa? Was that beeping his phone going off? And then the second one, the only person that's at their house right now is Osawa. This will be interesting. Yeah, kind of see what I need to do there. Oh yeah, plus I didn't do that thing with Kano regarding Chiaki. I don't know, I'm gonna have to think this one through. Also, holy crap, that's 1250? Well, I actually made it pretty far with Kano. Huh. Wow, he made it to 1250 as well. Like, I kind of know what I have to do for both of those, but I kind of want to switch things up a little too. I guess Tama could be next, since she's interesting. Yeah, might as well. But first, jump cut. Okay, break over, but I forgot who I said I was going to continue with once I got back to here, so let's just go with you. The rain won't let up. No matter how much time passes, it just won't stop. Ever since that day, the sound of raindrops has been burned into my mind. Such an awful, heart-rending sound, driving me to strip my life down to shadows. And yet, no matter what else I abandon, nothing will make the sound of the rain stop. Poetic. Osawa stared at a postcard that was nestled into the final page of the photo album. He purchased it 2 years earlier while on a trip with Maria to the Middle East. Originally used to indicate Iran, Afghanistan, and the region surrounding them. In modern times, the term refers to part of southwestern Asia, excluding India and Afghanistan, in the section of northeastern Africa along the Mediterranean coast. However, in Japan, as well as the US, the term Middle East is often understood to refer specifically to those parts of the region with a strong Islamic influence. He mentioned that he was being sent there on business, and Maria had just blurted out, "I want to go with you." She'd recently developed an interest in the Middle East conflict, and apparently she had been yearning to see the area firsthand. The ongoing friction in the Palestine region between the Jewish people who founded the nation of Israel and the Arabs who had been living there previously. The religious and historical context of this cultural clash is well beyond the scope of what can be elucidated here. Ain't that the truth? Yeah, you can make a whole game just chronicling the history of that. His daughter's newfound curiosity had taken him aback. She had always tended to be quiet and self-contained. The clumsy conversations aboard the airplane, the meals eaten together in awkward silence. It all felt like such a distant memory to Osawa now. "Ma'am, I'm afraid I can't let you do that." He heard Kajiwara's voice outside the door. "Why ever not? I'm just going out for a bit." The detective was arguing with Ai. Great. "And just who was it that told me I should try to go about my life as normal, Osawa's wife sneered. "Ma'am, please, How would you feel about being told to just sit around and wait?" Ai's angry shriek jerked Osawa to his feet. He hurried from the study to try to calm her down. Ma'am, please wait." But by the time Osawa had made his way downstairs, his wife had already stormed outside, despite Kajiwara's attempts to stop her. Osawa doubted anything he could have said would have stopped Ai from leaving. Trying to physically keep her from going out would only have made for an even worse uproar. He was glad that at least it hadn't come to that. He was turning to head back to the study when Kajiwara caught his eye. Resigned, he headed down the stairs and bowed to the detective. Any idea where she's going? Kajiwara asked. I mean, at a time like this? Osawa shook his head. I wouldn't know. I didn't think so. You know, your wife really is something else. Osawa arched an eyebrow. That's one way to describe her. A rather rude way, as a matter of fact. Oh, no offense intended. It's just that, ever since this case started, you've both been holed up in your own respective rooms. The more Kajiwara spoke, the more irritated Osawa became. What's your point? He demanded. I just mean, you haven't been having any, marital discourse. What? According to one survey, in roughly 6% of households, discourse between spouses is largely non-existent. Various reasons for this were offered by the couples in question. Many claimed that they were too tired to have the energy to talk, or stated, we wind up fighting when we talk, or we have nothing to talk about. Mind your own business, Osawa snapped. Kajiwara dipped his head deferentially. The two of us not talking isn't a new thing anyhow, Osawa added. I have a policy of not having pointless conversations. It is quite common for Kenji Osawa to make it through an entire day without having a single conversation. Please teach me your ways. On many days, he opens his mouth only to eat or brush his teeth. His current record is a streak of 14 consecutive days during which he didn't talk to anyone. This man's my freaking hero. Oh my god. Huh? It didn't look as though Kajiwara quite understood. Microorganisms such as viruses don't have conversations, and yet they still continually propagate in order to survive. Thinking about viruses, Osawa was back in familiar territory. He felt a surge of confidence. Once you have a clear purpose, conversation is unnecessary. And do you have a clear purpose for the relationship with your wife, Mr. Osawa? Of course I do. To be a family. Arms crossed, Kajiwara struck a thoughtful pose. At least I've learned one useful thing today. Mr. Osawa. Namely that you don't like to have pointless conversations. It's a good thing to know. Kajiwara uncrossed his arms for a moment, and crossed them right back again, furrowing his brow. But see, that's funny. You seem to have a tendency to have pointless conversations with me, and because you keep coming to talk to me. Osawa saw red. You don't leave me much of a choice. Tanaka poked his head out of the living room. Is something the matter? He asked. No. Osawa struggled to regain his calm. Perfect timing, actually. There is something I need to talk to you about. He turned back to Kajiwara. My apologies, detective. Would you mind giving us some privacy? Kajiwara didn't move. Detective? Osawa gave the policeman a hard look and saw him crack a smile. Yes? What is it? Kajiwara said at last. Don't you play dumb with me. Give us some privacy. Is this a discussion I shouldn't overhear? Actually, yes. It's work-related. There are business matters I'd prefer to keep confidential. Ah, I see. Reluctantly getting to his feet, Kajiwara slipped away into the living room. I don't like this Kajiwara fellow. Tanaka, Osawa began. About those emails. He stopped abruptly. Oh my god. Kajiwara had reappeared in the living room door, staring right at them. What are you doing? Osawa demanded. Oh, should I not be watching? Osawa felt like he was about to burst a blood vessel. I mean, You never told me that I couldn't watch. Because it should be obvious. The detective made a scolded puppy face, then closed the living room door. Osawa let out a heavy sigh. He'd never been an extrovert, but he didn't recall human interaction being quite this draining. Anyway, sir, Tanaka prompted, you were saying? Yes, about those emails. Something doesn't make sense. I don't understand how Mr. Makino was able to get the antiviral agent to anyone on the outside. Sharing an Okoshi Pharmaceuticals drug with external sources while it was still under development required the approval of an executive committee that included Osawa himself. There should have been no way the antiviral could be sent out without his knowledge. Tanaka hesitated a few moments before responding. Are you aware of the strife between the company president and the chairman? Osawa shook his head. He was a researcher through and through. Factional rivalries, rather, had no interest for him whatsoever. Makino effectively leads the chairman's team, and the antiviral agent is their pet project. Despite being the executive officer in charge of the project, however, Makino still needs the president's approval to, you know what, forget about that right now. What do we do about security? In theory, it was physically impossible to get the antiviral out of the lab without detection. Entry to the biohazard laboratory where it was kept required fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. Technology that allows an individual's identity to be verified by scanning the fingerprints. It is one element of biometrics, the measurement of physical characteristics to identify individuals. There are even devices that can identify people by checking the veins in the palms of their hands or the irises of their eyes. And that's how fingerprints work. Without the two of them there, nobody could even get into the storage facility. Because a dangerous virus is also stored there, the lab where the antiviral is kept is protected by an ID checkpoint, as well as a sophisticated 3-tiered lock system that requires fingerprint authentication. Multiple security guards are also posted outside the laboratory entrance 24 hours a day, making it all but impossible for an unauthorized person to get into the secured storage area. Tanaka followed his drift. Yes, I see what you mean. He inclined his head in thought as Osawa continued. I say we go with this. Let's check the entry logs for the storage section. Because, I mean, what would going directly to Makino solve? He would probably play dumb. We're going to need concrete evidence, and I don't think anybody would have the time to reprogram the verification program. Anyone who wanted to get inside had to present their ID card to the security guard on duty. It should be possible to check the computer logs to see if there had been any suspicious activity in the system. Tanaka shook his head. I already checked the logs, sir. There was no evidence of anything suspicious. You're welcome to check for yourself, though, if you're that worried. No, I believe you. Yet the fact was that the antiviral had been used for clinical testing. Either Makino had taken it from the laboratory personally, or someone working on his orders had done so. But how? Was there really some way they could have bypassed the lab security without anyone knowing? Osawa couldn't think how it would be possible. You fucking... The living room door opened with a soft creak. It was Kajiwara, and he looked stiff and pale. Something terrible has happened, he said. Visions of tragedy flooded Osawa's mind. Maria, is she... Kajiwara shook his head. No, it's not that. What is it then? Osawa asked, his voice trembling. Sir? I need you to stay calm. Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. You see, the toilet's clogged. I do not like him. You just gonna clog somebody's toilet like that? I will kick your ass. Plunger in hand, Osawa stabbed vigorously at the... What? Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. I have never seen this word in my life. Vigorously at the recalcitrant toilet bowl, struggling to loosen the unseen blockage. And now they're about to tell us about a plunger. A cleaning utility implement consisting of a soft hemispherical rubber suction cup attached to the end of a dowel. By pressing the cup over the opening of a drain that has been clogged, one can apply suction pressure to jostle the blockage free. Makes a variety of sounds when used, such as glub, glork, schluck, schlorp, schloop, and pop. This is a suboptimal... Well, I don't know what the bottom of the plunger looks like. This might be an optimal plunger. Yes, there are optimal and suboptimal plungers. Yes, there truly are. Like, you want one that sort of has like the suction cup that like extends down, as opposed to the standard like ones that sit. It's hard to explain. Kajiwara was at his side, wiping up the floor with a rag. How did this even happen? Oh, how did this even happen? The detective groaned. Are you kidding? I was hoping you could tell me that. The plunger sucked and slurped at the porcelain basin. This was a first for Osawa. He had never tried to unclog a toilet before in his life. I find that hard to believe. Think of it as a blessing in disguise, Mr. Osawa. What the hell are you talking about? What about this constitutes a blessing? I just meant that at least this happened before you needed to, do your business. Without the slightest hint of guile on his face, Kajiwara picked up his bucket and headed for the sink back in the washing area. Grumbling to himself, Osawa pumped the plunger over and over again. This was almost funny. Almost ridiculous, in fact. His daughter had been kidnapped, and he was stuck unclogging a toilet. He was quite possibly caught up in a major corporate conspiracy, and here he was unclogging a toilet. Tanaka poked his head into the bathroom. Did you fix it yet? If you need to urinate, then use the restroom on the second floor. That's alright, here's fine. Tanaka stepped in beside him and abruptly shut the bathroom door. Where's this going? Now the two men were crammed together in the narrow lavatory. Hey, Osawa hissed. What the hell are you doing? Tanaka made eye contact with Osawa via the mirror. He spoke in a hushed voice. I've been waiting for a moment I could get you alone. What? That's what I thought. I thought, what? Tanaka sidled around to face him, giving him an intense stare. Sir, could you please be quiet for a moment? Tanaka had tears in the corners of his eyes. This will only take a moment. Osawa could feel the warm breath of his deputy whispering against his cheek. Tanaka reached for something inside his coat. So I can raise the plunger as a weapon, try to get him to leave the bathroom, or just close my eyes and wait for it to be over. I don't know what to do here. Because I don't know what's happening. I guess we should trust him? Because if we're yelling this, Kajiwara could get suspicious and come back like, hey, what's with all the yelling? Come what may. Alright, do as you wish. Osawa closed his eyes. Are you sure you're ready for this? I'm not sure. This is all happening pretty fast, to be honest. I'm rather nervous. I understand, sir. I mean, now that I think of it, we do spend day in and day out in that lab together. I suppose this was bound to happen sooner or later.
Sir, could you please open your eyes? I'd like you to look at this.
You'll have to forgive me. This is all a bit sudden.
Please, sir, take a look.
No, I can't.
It's just the two of us. It's probably going to shock you, I know, but please, just look.
Is it really that shocking?
Oh, yes. Very. Now, please, open your eyes.
Okay. No, I can't.
Sir, trust me, this isn't easy for me either.
All right.
Bracing himself, Osawa opened his eyes. Tanaka thrust out his cell phone. Here, take a look at this.
Huh?
Osawa blinked, bewildered, then refocused on the phone. He could never have anticipated what he saw on the LCD screen. Oh man, that was hilarious.
Keep out? Well, dang.
We were going pretty deep into that one. Where's that time chart at? Yeah, just right before 12:30. Alright, let's see what Tama and friends are up to. In 1 hour, the Burning Hammer sales demo will begin. Cheery is laying out the assortment of snacks that we'll have on hand.
Hey Tama, you hungry?
Why, yes. Yes, I am. I mean, that should be pretty obvious at this point. All I've had since putting on this stupid mascot costume is some Burning Hammer and a bunch of iced tea.
Hey now, Cheery shoots back. What's with that attitude?
Cheery? You do remember that you ate my lunch, right?
The stickers said it was best before noon.
You just made that up.
Heh, yeah.
Cheery chortles merrily and chugs some more iced tea. Okay, folks, Mr. Yanagashita calls out as he slips into the room. Lunch break's over. Back to work. I don't feel like I've had much of a break. If anything, I'm even more mentally exhausted than I was before. There's a box full of Anagachi toys in the storeroom on the 3rd floor. Mind bringing those down? Anagochi, I ask. What's that? The name makes it sound like some sort of product knockoff. Mr. Yanagashita's face widens in surprise. You never heard of them? Oh my god, it's Tamagotchi. You know, Anagachi. It's a digital pet game where you raise an eel that lives in Tokyo Bay. A portable electronic game in which you raise a conger eel, Anago, feeding it daily and clearing away feces. Depending on how you raise your eel, it can wind up developing into various forms, from normal eel to ultimate eel sushi. You can also use the infrared communication feature to bring over friends for your eel from another nearby Anagachi device. There is also a sister product, Trout Watch. Trout Watch? By connecting the two, you can view a special event where the eel and trout characters go to a pub together. I would play Trout Watch. Never heard of it, I say. Huh, well, I guess maybe a lot of people in Japan haven't heard of it yet. But it's all the rage right now with youngsters over in NYC. NYC? Oh, he must mean New York City. It's popular in New York? Really? Anyway, I did some quick checking and that's when I learned. So, last month I bought a whole bunch of them. And once again, you were swindled. Yep. Ouch. Cheery dropping the hard truth. Didn't know that was from Cheery, but okay. Mr. Yanagashita lets out a pathetic whimper. No! Just like that, his confidence evaporates. He starts muttering to himself. I thought it sounded a little fishy, really. I mean, think about it. Why would kids in New York be interested in raising eels from Tokyo Bay? He muses. And what appeal would an eel character even have anyway? None, that's what. I should have known that. I did know it. Then why'd you buy them? This farce is getting tiresome. Anyway, Yanagashita continues, it was going to cost way too much to keep them in storage, so I was just going to let the recycling guy take them. He hangs his head in shame. In a matter of moments, he's borderline catatonic. The type of eel that gives Anagachi its name is anago, can be loosely translated as the creature that lives in a hole. Mr. Yanagashita is probably wishing he could crawl into a hole right about now. Ha ha ha. Cherry, on the other hand, flashes a big, bright grin. Still, you know, eel's pretty delicious. Oh, Cherry, Yanagashita blurts. Thank you. He clasps her hand in gratitude. I wasn't exactly complimenting you there, boss. It's the same thing. There's a little bit of me in each of my products. Anagachi and I are one and the same. A brief Anagachi gameplay clip. The trick is to feed your eel proper food and give it proper exercise. Another important strategy tip is to make sure to obtain the sharp chef's knife when you visit Kababashi Kitchen Town partway through the game. Riveting gameplay. I can see why it's all the rage with the children. Which is to say, eels and I are one and the same. You're slimy creatures. Go on then, say something nice about eels. Cheery chimes in right without missing a beat. Eels are awesome when it comes to eel sushi. 100 pieces barely whets my appetite. You know, those two make quite a pair. That really means a lot to me, Cheery. Thank you. Thank you. I don't understand what any of this is about, but if it helps mend Mr. Yanagashita's wounded spirits, I guess I can't complain. I leave them to their devices and head for the storeroom. The storeroom door opens with a rough grating sound. Okay, now where's the light switch? I fumble around in the dark, feeling for the switch box. My costume paws mute the sensations in my hands enough that even finding that is difficult. I bet at the wall willy-nilly until eventually the lights come on. Apparently I found the switch, even if I didn't feel it. Whoa, what the heck is this? The storeroom is practically overflowing with shoddy goods. A painting that looks like a child's scribblings? An oddly shaped hat bearing the words, "Grow 2 inches guaranteed"? A cheap looking pendant with a tag that says it's set with a miracle stone? These stones were nothing more than simple glass beads that were purchased at 5,000 yen a piece. The seller claimed, normally they sell for 10,000 a pop, but if you buy 100 of them, I'll give you half off, which the buyer declared it really is a miracle before joyfully agreeing to the purchase. The fact that someone like Yanagashita actually exists to buy these things up is also kind of a miracle. It's like this is the knockoff boneyard where cheap products go to die. They break away from their pathetic herd knowing their time has come and end up in this graveyard of a storeroom. Let's see, Anagachi. I quickly spy the cardboard box I'm looking for. I catch a sight of a dark silhouette out of the corner of my eye. Eek! I yelp. Is that a roach? It's one of them! Black, flat, quick, long antenna, often spotted in kitchens. Sometimes, somehow, their legs wind up in restaurant food. Ew. The size, the speed, the dark shape, it couldn't be anything else. It peers back at me from the shadow of the Anagachi box, the faint light catching the luster of its carapace. It looks ready to leap out at me at any moment. I need to act fast. Oh no. Alright, a roach.
I would not challenge a roach to single combat. They are scrappy fellows indeed. Like, all, just, I'm pretty sure half of them carry knives on them in the first place, so it's like the moment you're not paying attention, bang, you're shanked. Snatch the cardboard box and make a run for it. I snatch up the cardboard box and make a run for it. Whew, lucky to get out of there alive. Phew, I made it. When I get back to the break room, Mr. Yanagashita is still clutching Chiri's hands. An eel's super tasty when you salt broil it too. Thank you. But tempura style is probably the best. Thank you. Well, Mr. Yanagashita's spirits have certainly turned around. Okay, got it. I hold out the big cardboard box. Excellent, thank you. You girls are the greatest, Yanagashita shouts. His voice resounds with gratitude. Hey, that's it. I've just got an amazing idea. Why don't 3 of us start our own company? I'll pass. Chiri and I respond in unison. Man, you two shot that one down quick. Oh well, for today let's just focus on selling Burning Hammer. By the way, I ask, where is the Burning Hammer? There wasn't any in the storeroom and I don't see any here either. Oh, that's right. It's out back in the loading dock. We should probably go bring it in. And bring the Anagachis with you too. The recycling guy's gonna be showing up soon. Come on, let's go. Chiri and I follow Mr. Yanagashita out to the loading dock. But the loading dock, it turns out, is empty. Did we get robbed? There's no sign of the Burning Hammer anywhere. It's gone. Mr. Yanagashita murmurs. Then his voice rises to a shout. It's gone! All gone! The Burning Hammer! It's all gone! Flying into a panic, he searches frantically from one end of the dock to the other, leaping into the air, even peering down into the cracks. But no matter where he looks, there's nothing for him to find. It was right here a little while ago, like, right here, right here. I hear the sound of an engine revving outside. Mr. Yanagashita cries out in alarm. We can see a truck starting to pull away. Its bed is piled high with cardboard boxes and other assorted trash. Hey boss, is that... There it is! Mr. Yanagashita begins racing after the truck. My burning hammer! His voice cracks as he cries out. Give that back! Give it back! But he's no match for a speeding truck and the boxes of burning hammer vanish before his eyes. Burning hammer! Come back! Come back! Yanagashita's wailing echoes from the surrounding buildings. It's like something out of a movie. Just yell at the driver to stop. What the hell? What's up with that truck? Tama! Who the heck was that? Hey, don't look at me, I reply. Huh? With all those piles of stuff, it looked just like the recycling guy. Oh, that was Yanagashita. I thought that might have been Chiri. Whatever. As soon as he says it, revelation dawns on his face. The recycling guy, he mutters. I can see the color draining from his face. The words recycling guy gave me an idea. If it was him, maybe he thought he was picking up the Anagachis by miss. We have to find it! We have to find that truck! The man is absolutely beside himself. Chiri, Tama, you two split up and try to track it down. Wait, why do we have to look for it? Again, Chiri and I speak in chorus. There's no sales demo, there's no money to pay you. And then all the work you've done will be for nothing. Right, when he puts it that way, I guess there isn't much of a choice. Somehow or another, we'll have to find that truck. Can't have gotten far, he continues. Now, go hunt for it like your life depended on it. Chiri and I look at each other and sigh. How do you want to do this? She asks. Want to search together or should we split up? Split up, you'll cover more ground. We should split up. Cheery and I go our separate ways searching for a truck full of junk. Hopefully I won't regret this. I make my way to Center Guy. I'm so focused on searching all over as I walk that I lose track of where I'm going, and I wind up bumping right into a man who's hurrying along with his daughter. Teruo and Hana Toyama. They came to Center Guy to eat lunch. Before that, they were at Heaven Publishing in Shibuya Chrome. Or One Chrome. Is that I or a 1? While wandering around distractedly, looking for somewhere cheap and tasty, Mr. Toyama bumped right into Tama. Oh, pardon me. I hop back to my feet and go to bow to the man in apology. Ow? How did you get hurt? You're wearing a mask. He bows at the same time we managed to bonk our heads together. Sorry. As her dad drops to his knees, clutching his head, the girl begins to wander off. Hey, Hana, wait! The man lurches to his feet and rushes after the girl. She seems like an odd kid, only 10 or so, but strangely cold and distant for her age. Well, that's one distraction for them, so I guess that's good. Nursing my own sore head, I make it all the way to Shibuya Station, but there's no sign of the truck. I'll probably never find it just by wandering around randomly. It's already 12:35. The sales demo starts in 25 minutes. I have serious doubts I'll be able to find the truck by then. Arg! What should I do? Another keep out, huh? Okay. I may have to, like, just go back through Kano's story and do the stuff there to make more Minorikawa stuff possible. But we also have Achi here. Achi and Hitomi scampered through the back roads along Center Guy, white sneakers and pumps slapping on the pavement. Achi kept his eyes peeled continually, checking ahead and behind as they darted through the gaps between the buildings. Finally, they stopped in a narrow alley. "There's no way he'll find us here," he said. "No one knows about this place." He took another look around, then let out a sigh of relief. It seemed they'd managed to shake the gunman for now. Back when Achi was with SOS, he had come through Center Guy practically every day. The abbreviation for Studs of Shibuya, that's what it stands for. The name given to the group by Achi when he founded it. Originally just a bunch of like-minded young people hanging out together, it has since become known as a gang that picks fights around Shibuya. The gang had started out as a little more than a group of local teens. They didn't do much in particular, just horsing around and killing time. What mattered was that they were having fun. But it wasn't long before it wasn't all fun and games. Achi couldn't help but notice the slobs who were making a mess of Shibuya, dirtying it all up. He wasn't about to let them get away with it. Most frequently, it was folks who tossed cigarette butts out on the ground or plastered walls and graffiti. When they didn't respond to his more gentle warnings, he found slightly more forceful ways of getting his point across. SOS got a reputation. Street Punk started trying to pick fights with its members. Those guys required a bit more force to handle. And when it came to the worst of the lot, the drug dealers, the muggers, the guys who tried to force themselves on women, it was full-on battle, no holds barred. Before long, SOS had established itself as something of a vigilante corps. Soon it became known as one of the biggest gangs in Shibuya. Yeah, that's how a lot of gangs start off, like, you know, just a group of people hanging out, and then, like, they form a purpose. Sometimes it is to protect, like, the area they're in, but then they get territorial and start fighting with other gangs, and it just leads out into, yeah, like the stuff you see, like, just glamorized on TV and video games. Like, in terms of street gangs, not like actual organized like mafias and stuff. But yeah, let's lay low here for a bit and see what happens, Achi said. The alley where they hid was like a dimly lit chasm, obscuring them from view. The only problem now is figuring out what to do next. They needed to find that blue van again, which meant figuring out the best way to get back to Dogenzaka without the man with the cane catching them once more. Achi? Hitomi whispered. I think I can handle myself from here. She got to her feet and gave Achi a deep bow. Whoa! Achi held up a hand. We've been over this already. You're not going to be okay. That guy has a gun. If he let her go up against that assassin alone, he might as well be the one to pull the trigger himself. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me, Hitomi continued as if she hadn't heard him. She started to shuffle out of the alleyway. Hey, what did I just say? Really, Achi, I appreciate your concern, but I can't in good conscience put you in danger anymore. But, I mean... Achi tried to press the point, but Hitomi cut him off. There's no good reason for you to risk yourself to keep helping me. Her tone was resolute. No. I'm keeping everybody safe, damn it, and that's what I'm gonna do. Still, Achi was determined to help her anyway. He refused to back down. Look, I want to help people who are in trouble. What's so wrong about that? Huh? He locked eyes with Hitomi, willing her to understand. I'm not the most dependable guy, I know that. But still, Hitomi dropped her gaze and Achi trailed off, feeling like an idiot. Oh, it's no use. I'm no use. He hung his head with a sigh. Just then, a bit of light shone into the alleyway from above. It looked like someone on the adjacent building's upper floor had turned on the lights. The Nokane building. This multi-tenant building has 7 floors, but a decade-old urban legend tells of a mysterious 13th floor. A diet and sales demo is being held on one of the upper floors today. Someone. Tama at 12:05. What? The room. The closet. Why am I jumping there? I passed that. Storming door opens with a rough grating sound. Okay, now where's the light switch? Feeling for the switch box, custom paws mute the sensations in my hands enough that even finding this is difficult. Grab the wall willy-nilly until eventually the lights come on. Apparently I found the switch even if I didn't feel it. Oh, what the heck is this? So it was practically over. This is the same thing. This is the exact same. Why are they putting me back here? Okay. I don't know what that accomplishes. I'm just gonna go back to Achi. Cause I don't think that that would unlock anything. Yeah, cause the keep out for Tama doesn't even happen until 12:30. But alright. The light illuminated Hitomi's face. When Achi saw the look in her eyes, he reconsidered his decision. She was trying her hardest to hide it, but she was clearly terrified. No way was he letting her go back out there alone. Still, if he tried to insist, she would only refuse him again. Hitomi, humor me for a second here. Tell me, what's the proper way to dispose of a plastic bottle? She stared at him in surprise.
Well, first you remove the cap and the wrapper. Then you rinse out the inside and crush it. Achi let out the breath he'd been holding. Okay, good. Huh? I don't understand. What's good? You gave me my reason why I have to help you out. I super respect people who respect the environment. I'm one of those, whatchamacallits, an environmentalist. Achi pointed at his Mean Clean t-shirt. Hitomi hesitated. And what was your plan if I'd said the answer was to toss the plastic in with the trash? Well, then I'd need to stick with you to help teach you. Environmental awareness begins with good education. So then you're going to tag along with me regardless. Look, I'm just super pumped to learn that you care so much about proper recycling. Achi cracked a huge grin. Ah, she's smiling. Okay then. Okay? If you're really that sure about it, I guess I could use your help a little while longer. Hitomi flashed him a little smile. Man, she's so cute, Achi thought. Now it's not the time or place for y'all to make out, cause gunman chasing you down. Okay, thank you. Sneak, oh my god, that is barely legible. I might need to turn down the brightness on the background. Sneaking from the alley, Achi and Hitomi began to make their way along the side streets back toward Dogenzaka. It was a pretty big detour compared to taking the main thoroughfares, but they would be worth it. That would be worth it if it meant they avoided the man with the cane. Achi looked over at Hitomi as she walked alongside him. Her face was solemn. He could feel the intensity of her worry for her sister. Oh, well, look who's got himself a little cutie. The sudden call startled him. He spun around. Yo, Mean Clean, over here. Achi spotted a young man up ahead, sneering at him. At his side were two others. Achi recognized a lot. SOS. Hitomi let out a nervous squeak. Achi? Don't worry about them. He led her onward, attempting to stride right past the trio. Whoa, hey now. You just gonna ignore me? It's pretty damn rude, especially coming from someone who used to be an old buddy. The three toughs moved to bar Achi's path. Oh, she is hella fine. Come on, ain't you gonna introduce us? Extremely attractive. The etymology of hella is somewhat unclear, but its meaning is undisputed. Very, a lot of, totally, and the like. Potential synonyms for hella fine include mighty fine, fine as hell, and bangin'. I love this game so much. Sorry, man, Achi said. Bangin'? I'm in a bit of a hurry here. He gave them a tepid smile. A big hurry, huh? Where to? Some love hotel in Mario Macho? Too rich, another chimed in. She is streamer, oh my god. Well, not a streamer, but a screamer, and also, wow. Okay, she is screamer, Achi. Achi. Take a stereotypical way to poke fun at a would-be amorous couple. Now take Achi's name. There you go. What was the point of that subtext? Or subscript or whatever. Okay. Alright. They burst out howling like a gang of monkeys. One of them cackled like a grinning idiot. Achi. 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 Achi felt his anger boil. These guys were in sore need of a major ass kicking. Or, there's too much at stake, he was just going to have to suck it up and ignore them for the time being. Ignore them. Be the better man. Gritting his teeth, he tried to slip past him, but the largest of the three grabbed him by the collar. You ran out, man. Susumu's the one who runs this town now. You got no right to keep acting like you're the boss of us. He shoved Achi up against the wall.
Says who? Achi asked. Susumu? Say what now? Did Susumu say I've got no right to act like the boss? Bitch, please. Susumu ain't got no time to worry about your sorry ass. Ah, is that so? Get him! Achi's fist flashed out, catching the man clean on the jaw. He dropped to the ground with a dull thud. So tell Susumu this. Everyone in Shibuya needs to just play nice and have fun. Achi kept his tone light and jovial, but he eyed the other two toughs like a hawk eyeing its prey. Is he going to be alright? Hitomi murmured. She looked at the man Achi had laid out with some concern. He'll be fine. If that's all it took to knock him out, he's got no right to act all badass. Achi, huh? I don't believe I had the pleasure. A taller man with an angry gleam in his eyes had appeared atop the steps nearby. He must have turned up during the commotion. My God, the absolute state of his fashion. He desperately needs his ass kicked. He radiated a distinct aura of menace. That's me, Achi replied. Just who are you? For once it was someone he didn't recognize. The name's Yoji Kiryu. Used to roll with a gang from Ikebukuro until a few months ago, known as the Killer Whale of Bukuro. He answered any and all resistance with his fists. His crazy antics led to him being kicked out by the gang. However, and lately he's been hanging around Shibuya. I joined up with SOS after you left. Now I'm Susumu's number 2 guy. The newcomer stared at Achi's face, sizing him up. Our legendary founder. I've heard so much about you. The founder? It had been a long time since anyone had called him that. There had been a bunch of arguing over who would take charge of the new group that was forming to set things straight in Shibuya. At some point, folks had started hailing him as the force behind SOS. But founder, that was just something his buddies called him. He had never paid it much heed. Shibuya was a place for fun, not hierarchies. At least in Achi's mind, that was how it ought to be. Like how you busted up some mean old drug dealers, rescued your pals from Yakuza bondage? What? Oh, okay. Here, bondage is used strictly in the sense of captivity. Any other types of Yakuza bondage will not be featured in this game. Sorry if the tip link here got your hopes up. This game is rated T after all. You're a real hero. Kiryu's tongue flicked from his mouth like a snake's. Might they be referencing Yakuza, the game series? Hitomi shuddered. Achi couldn't blame her for being creeped out. But that's all in the past now, isn't it? Kiryu continued. You went modestly on your way. It's up to us now. And we've helped SOS grow by leaps and bounds to help carry on your legacy, no matter who stands in our way. That thought didn't sit right with Achi. If aggressive expansion was the name of the gang was losing touch with its roots. It wasn't about keeping Shibuya safe and fun anymore. Make SOS bigger, huh? He said. I'm guessing that was Susumu's call as well? Kiryu didn't answer his question. His mouth merely twisted into a knowing sneer. That ain't no sneer, he's looking mean as hell. In any event, I think these boys here need a little lesson in manners. The guillotine ought to do the trick. Capital punishment device invented in 18th century France. The condemned is executed by decapitation, by means of a heavy blade that descends from above, named for physician Joseph Ignace Guillotin, who advocated its use to the National Assembly. Both King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were executed by guillotine. The other gang members started an alarm. Whoa, hey, just calm down, man. Please, anything but the guillotine. Kiryu pointedly ignored their pleas. Whoa, hey, what's the guillotine? Achi asked. Kiryu smirked. The guillotine is the guillotine. Wait, like an actual guillotine? Whip me worms. Without a glance back, Kiryu strolled away. His two underlings followed him unhappily. Achi wondered what lay in store for them, but right now he had more important things to worry about. Come on, let's go. He took Hitomi by the hand and they were back on their way. Oh! Hitomi perked up. That's me! She reached into her pocket and took out her cell phone. Huh? She stared at the screen with consternation. What is it? Achi asked. It's an email. From Mr. Tanaka. Who's Mr. Tanaka? He works with my father. I'm not sure what I should do. Achi remembered that the criminal had warned her against contacting her family or the police. She seemed reluctant to even open this message. Sure, it's fine to just read an email, he said. Besides, he's not the police and he's not your family. Yeah, you're right. This is to keep out for Osawa then. Hitomi scanned the message anxiously. It sounds like he's worried about me, she said. Then, does he know about the kidnapping? Yes, I know my father trusts him. And he's always been so... Hitomi cut herself short. Still, it was clear to Achi that she and this Tanaka person had some sort of close relationship. I wonder if it's safe for me to let him know what the situation is. I think it should be, Achi told her. I mean, the kidnappers aren't going to know you sent an email, right? Hitomi began typing out a response. Achi watched over her, wild speculations running through his mind. There was no way a mild-mannered young lady like her could be dating one of her father's co-workers, was there? But it looks like we might have opened this up. We did. Here, take a look at this. Huh? Osawa could never have anticipated what he saw on the LCD screen. It was an email from Hitomi. Stifling an exclamation, he scanned the contents of the message. There's a man following me. He has a gun and I think he's trying to kill me. I'm safe for the moment, so try not to worry. The kidnapper warned me, told me not to contact my family or the police. Please keep this email a secret. But didn't Hitomi give the kidnapper the ransom? Oh, alright, I was caught up in that. But didn't Hitomi give the kidnapper the ransom? Osawa said. What can anyone want with her now? Tanaka shook his head, uncertain. He wouldn't know any better than I would, I suppose. Do the police know about this? And if so, why haven't they said anything? He felt himself start to tremble as he searched for answers in Tanaka's silent gaze. Dang, you keep your toilet paper looking that neat, my dude? Do you think this could be related to that other thing? I doubt it. If it were, why would they go after... Why would they got after Hitomi? Just making sure I was reading that correctly. Why did they got after Hitomi, indeed? I suppose you're right, but... Osawa was shaking out right now. Tanaka laid a hand on his shoulder. First, just calm down and let's think about what we know about the kidnapper. The composure helped Osawa keep himself under control. They've taken Maria, the vice director continued quietly, along with a ransom of 50 million yen. And now they're after Hitomi. His gaze sharpened. Sir, do you think this could be someone who holds a personal grudge against you? A grudge? Osawa considered. He couldn't think of anyone who would have a reason to attack him. He'd been too caught up in his virus research since his time in school to have formed any hostile rivalries. He didn't have any enemies that he knew of. Maybe someone's jealous that I became head of a laboratory, he suggested doubtfully. He had held his position for years at this point. Why would that spur someone into kidnapping his daughter now? Has anything happened recently? Tanaka asked. Anything strange since you got back from overseas? Since I got back? Osawa's heart skipped a beat, then started pumping faster. The first thing that came to mind was the solicitation he'd gotten from the American laboratory. If he accepted the offer, it would put Okoshi Pharmaceutical in quite a bind. Possibly enough to warrant someone holding a grudge over it. But the only other person who knew about the potential transfer right now was his wife, Ai. No, Osawa said. Nothing. Not that I can think of. He couldn't bring himself to discuss the transfer with Tanaka. He felt a surge of guilt for contemplating leaving his trusted assistant behind. If he did make the move to America, he planned to recommend that Tanaka replace him as department director. Still, he didn't expect that to make up for his abandonment. Alright, I'll see what information I can find then, Tanaka said. The kidnapper had forbidden any contact with either family or the police, but Tanaka was outside of that circle, and he knew how to handle himself with discretion. Sorry to put this on you, Osawa said, and thank you. For now, let's see if we can get Hitomi to exchange some more emails. An uncomfortable thought suddenly occurred to Osawa. He blurted it out without thinking. Why do you have my daughter's contact information on your phone? Tanaka gave him a worried look. Sir, I promise I can explain once all this is over. And with that, he stepped out of the bathroom. Something in the tone of his final words left Osawa to wonder. Could it be that Tanaka and Hitomi were dating? He hoped dearly for that not to be the case. Their age difference alone made the idea a disturbing one, let alone so many other considerations. Oh, wow! I thought they were about to say, like, what? What is, like, Tanaka 29 or something? Like, oh, no, that is, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty wide. Mamoru Tanaka is 40 years old. Hitomi is 19. This makes him just over twice her age. This does not necessarily mean, however, that they could not date or fall for each other. Many couples with such an age difference between them wind up in a happy, committed relationship. Still kind of weird, though. Like, you've been this guy's assistant for years. You've known his family, his daughter, for years. So what, like, you were just counting down the days for her to turn 18? Even if it's legal, that's still kind of creepy. Trying to put aside his paranoia, Osawa resumed his struggle with the clog in the toilet. Most toilet clogs are caused by a buildup of flushable paper products or by solid objects inadvertently dropped into the toilet bowl, but shockingly enough, on very rare occasions, they can be caused by someone taking a dump that happens to be that big that it gets stuck in the pipe. Apologies to anyone who might be eating right now. Rare occasions, huh? Okay. Oh goodness! Kajiwara reappeared, still toting the bucket. You seem to be having a lot of trouble there, sir. He made it sound like the whole mess was Osawa's fault. Of course I am. I never had to do this before. Really? I think the research you do would be a lot more difficult than this. Fixing toilets gives me far more trouble, I'd say. So it would seem. Kajiwara stood, watching, as if Osawa's efforts made an interesting show. I don't know the first thing about viruses, sir, but I don't find unclogging toilets to be that difficult. Oh yeah? Osawa snapped. Then how about you fix the damn thing? Kajiwara really was a world-class pro at pissing people off. Are you sure? You don't mind? The detective asked. Be my goddamn guest. Osawa shoved the plunger into Kajiwara's hand. Leaving the detective to handle the toilet, Osawa marched back to his study. He turned on the CD player and lay back on the sofa, squeezing his eyes shut. He was seriously on edge. Kajiwara had totally broken his stride. What now? The door to the study slid slowly open. It's Detective Kajiwara, sir. Please don't come in here without asking. My apologies, Mr. Osawa. I just wanted to inform you that the toilet has been fixed. Right, fine. Osawa hardly cared. He just wanted this guy to give him a little peace.
Oh my. Is that really all you have to say, sir? Nary a compliment or encouraging word. Maybe a good job, Kajiwara, or a "you're getting a promotion, detective." Osawa blew out his breath in exasperation. How are you a detective? I'm not sure I get your meaning, sir. You are completely clueless. I'd like to ask your superiors to replace you with a detective who knows how to take his job seriously. Mr. Osawa, with all due respect, it's unusual for a precinct detective like me to be stationed here at a victim's home. What's your point? Not to brag, sir, but I happen to be an exceptional detective. Kajiwara beamed with pride. In fact, I made an excellent showing in the Superstar Detective contest we had on our police social media service. An online platform whose primary feature is allowing people to connect with one another. The police-exclusive social media network that Kajiwara belongs to is Proxy. It is very strictly regulated, with any abusive language, slander, sexual content, or lame jokes deleted almost immediately. Proxy is a good fucking name for a social media thing, holy shit. For a moment, Osawa thought the bolt of incredulous anger that shot through him was the onset of a stroke. Nah, that's not a stroke. Heart attack, yes. Stroke, no. You would just be going numb for that. How can a single person be so utterly infuriating? And you can't tell anyone about this, Kajiwara went on obliviously. But this summer, a new detective manga started up based on me. Planned for serialization in the MPD's monthly PR magazine. The chapter titles have already been decided. Chapter 1, The Fabled Detective Kaji. Chapter 2, Kaji Howls at the Sun. Chapter 3, Kaji Rides the Rails. Chapter 4, Kaji at Daybreak. Chapter 5, Detective Kojak. Kojak? Oh my god. Chapter 6, Kaji, Queen of the Street. Chapter 7, Look Out, Kaji. Chapter 8, Kaji on the Edge. Chapter 9, Dance, Kaji, Dance. Chapter 10, Space Detective Kaji. And so forth and so on. Osawa spat out a peal of feigned laughter. A manga? I can tell you all about the plot, sir. Would you like to hear about it? I would not. It's about a telecommunicating detective who solves major crimes using just his wits and his computer. Surely you would like to hear about that, sir. I really wouldn't. I know I may not look it, but I'm pretty handy with computers. Kajiwara's eyes drifted over to Osawa's desktop. His hand darted to the mouse. In a matter of moments, he cleared the screensaver and booted up a web browser. Why are your gloves still wet? Hey! Osawa barked. Don't touch that! But he was too late to stop the detective. This asshole. The monitor showed the page for AyaNet, a fan page devoted to Aya Kamiki. Osawa's imminent rage stroke was beginning to make his vision grow fuzzy. You come to this site regularly, sir? Regularly? Well, I'm not sure Osawa trailed off, feeling the heat of a blush flare on his cheeks. There's a lot of stuff on this site. Is there a section you primarily spend time on? Well, I mean, for my part, I really only go to the fan forums for folks 40 and over. Aha! With a twinkle of curiosity in his eyes, Kajiwara peered at the computer screen. Having his privacy invaded to this degree was the ultimate disgrace. Alright, Osawa huffed. You're an amazing detective, Kajiwara. Just incredible. I see you in a new light now. Now would you please? The hell out of my room, or please leave me alone. I would not leave the study yourself, because then that's just going to leave Kajiwara free reign to, like, look up all in your shit. So get the hell out of my room. He tried to usher Kajiwara back out the door. Alright, sir, the detective said. Alright, I understand. I'll leave. But before that, one more thing. Kajiwara slipped his hand into his pocket.
I don't need a damn banana.
It's not that, Mr. Osawa. I have something that I think may be important to you. He held out a small plastic bag. Inside was a scrap of paper of some sort.
What's that?
Osawa asked. This is what was clogging the toilet, sir. With some hesitation, Osawa took hold of the bag.
Huh?
That's... The passenger name here is listed as Kenji Osawa. In the plastic bag was a plane ticket. Specifically the one for his upcoming flight to the US the following week. He left it out on his desk. How had it wound up getting flushed down the toilet? This looks like it's pretty important, sir, Kajiwara said. I must say, it was pretty careless of you to accidentally flush it. A wry sort of smile came to his face. Although, the detective added, I suppose the question of who flushed it is another matter entirely. Osawa was at a loss for words. Someone had tried to flush his plane ticket on purpose. He was sure of it. He knocked on the door to Ai's room, but there was no response. It didn't look like she'd gotten back home yet. Osawa let himself in. The stinging scent of her perfume pervaded the room, which was decorated all in white. Clothes were strewn all about as if to put her slovenliness on display. She'd been like this ever since they'd gotten married, and Osawa had long since stopped caring. It must have been I who tried to flush the ticket. He knew she didn't want him going to America, but still, couldn't she have found a better way to get rid of it? Thanks to her, he'd been stuck hunched over the damn toilet fighting with the plunger. Osawa sat down on the bed amidst the brand-name clothing, then he spotted something odd down by his feet. It was a gold cigarette lighter. Just when had I picked up smoking? Osawa picked up the lighter and set it on the shelf next to the bed. He started out of the room, but then he noticed a scrapbook on the bookshelf. The rest of the shelf was filled with fashion magazines, so the scrapbook definitely drew his eye. Curious, he took it down and opened it. Suddenly, Kajiwara came barging into the room. Mr. Osawa, he cried out. It's your wife. She's gone completely hysterical.
She's what?
Please follow me. Kajiwara led Osawa to the cafe where I had gone. The instant he opened the door, Osawa's ears were assaulted by a veritable whirlwind of verbal fury. What the hell are you doing? Hurry up and arrest this man! The grating, histrionic voice was none other than Ai's. Ma'am, please, begged the officer she was verbally assaulting. I just need you to come with me for a while so I can ask you a few questions about the situation. The officer looked nearly on the verge of tears. A strange man, not to be outdone by Ai's shouting, added his own voice to the chorus. Hurry up and find that listening device. She's got one on her, I'm sure of it. Oh, shut up. Please, please, shut up. He only just stepped through the door and already Osawa wanted to run away. The cafe was almost deserted. Probably the rest of the clientele had been driven off. What few customers remained were rooted to their seats, apparently afraid of getting caught up in the mayhem themselves. How dare you call yourself a police officer? I harped. This is dereliction of duty is what it is. Ma'am, please. The officer was in tears now. To think that good taxpayer money pays your salary. Ma'am, please. Recording a conversation without consent is a pretty serious crime, the other man railed. Not cracking down on that, that's dereliction of duty. Sir, please. You know what, fine. I'll find the bug myself. Sir, please, the policeman exclaimed again as the man advanced toward Ai, putting out some kind of electronic device. I recoiled. Stop that at once! Don't you dare touch my belongings! Is that Minorikawa? Aha!
So you do have something to hide. Oh my god. Alright, alright, alright. Kajiwara interposed himself between I and the strange man. Oh, not you, I groaned. Why don't you mind your own business and get the hell out of here? Yeah, the man agreed. Mind your own business. Oh, don't you mind me, Kajiwara replied. Ma'am, your husband is here. He gestured at Osawa. Osawa hadn't expected to be put on the spot. He stood frozen, speechless. Now what? I snarled. What do you want? Nothing in particular, I just... Osawa began to back away on reflex, but I closed in on him. That's how it always is with you, she shrieked. You never care one whit what I do you? And you know what? That's fine. But it wouldn't kill you to show a little concern when I'm under attack like this. You're her husband? The strange man demanded. Look, someone's planted a bug on your wife. Could she be caught up in something? Something big? Tell me. Why? Why are they all coming at me now? Sir, please. The officer too turned to Osawa. I just want to hear your wife's side of the story. I'm afraid I'll have to ask all of you to accompany me back to the station. Osawa felt like he was standing in the eye of a hurricane that was whirling faster and faster. Are you even listening? Hey, you're hearing us all right, man? Everybody please! Osawa simply stood, paralyzed, and stared as the storm of fury raged on and on. But no matter how hard he wished for some escape, the storm showed no signs of passing him by. I want to go home. I never should have come here. Why? Why did any of this have to happen? Well, that took a turn. Bad end. I goes overboard. Osawa walked into the middle of an argument between his wife and some weirdo at the cafe. The fight kept escalating until everyone involved got an invite down to the police station. It's doubtful that anything Osawa could have said would have stopped Ai from having the house in a huff. So, maybe the guy she's arguing with needs to change what he does. Is that related to that beeping that Minorikawa heard? Because I did ignore that. Alright, time for cleanup. So now... I'm going back to... Kano. Okay. Because we overwhelmed her. That's apparently Chiaki. It's gonna leave her. Let's leave her alone this time. She can't be involved with this, can she? Sasayama flashed him a skeptical look. Don't let your preconceptions get the better of you. Could get you killed. Fixed notions one has about something before the facts are known can be a hindrance to thinking freely. If you think about it too hard, you might fall victim to the preconception that preconceptions themselves are always bad. My brain hurts. I know that, but still, she doesn't come across as involved to me. Kano knew better than to judge people based on appearance, but he was still convinced the girl wasn't part of this gang. She just struck him as far too, well, inept, really. Alright, I'll go look into the girl, Sasayama said. You keep following the attaché case. Kano nodded and hurried after the man. Okay. The criminals handle the attaché case, same black clothing. I just want to make sure. I'm going to advance until Sasayama returns. Actually, I'll take my chances. It auto-saved, so... maybe now. Wow, that was this early on? Okay. So, rare father-daughter pair. Nope, focus on the article. Okay. And now we hear beeping. Drawn to a young woman at another table. And then one of these, and one of these. Oh, and this, and this, and this, and this, and that too. She finished with a broad grin. Cheery? She's not searching for... Oh my god, Cheery. What? Let me just repeat your order back to you. One Japanese style beef patty, one spicy fish roast spaghetti, one chicken casserole, one French onion soup, one fruit parfait, one chocolate parfait, and one deluxe chocolate parfait. Will that be all? The waitress anxiously awaited confirmation. Ryoko Kakinuma, a second-year student at Midoriyama Academy's law school. She was hassled by a pair of hustlers on her way to work and showed up 5 minutes late for her shift. The manager told her that those 5 minutes were coming out of her pay, so she's a bit irritated right now. You forgot the large caramel shake. The customer was a full-figured young woman ensconced at a nearby table. That is a good word, ensconced. Oh, my apologies. Waitress quickly jotted down the addition to the order. That'll do it for now, the young woman said. For now? Yikes. She's actually planning on ordering more after that? Marveling at this display of appetite, Minorikawa went back to typing. Alright, so I don't have to worry about that beeping then. Thank God. Now what? Or maybe I do. He heard the strange beeping sound again, subtly different than the first time, and this time it was closer. Seriously, what the heck is that? But this is a new choice because it's not grayed out. Never mind, I need to focus on this article. Minorikawa immersed himself in his writing again. For long, he stopped worrying about the curious sound. So I ignored the first sound, but not the second. But there was still the timeline of him helping out, or getting the call from Chiaki. But I guess now that won't happen? I probably should have stayed on Kano's path just to see how that would change up the dialogue with the homeboy, but whatever. The plump young woman set about devouring all the food she'd ordered despite the strange looks she was getting. Now that was an appetite to be reckoned with. It took her under 3 minutes to polish off the lot. Then, looking not the least bit sated, she picked the menu right back up. Was she seriously going to order more? Minorikawa was starting to take an interest in this young lady. There might be a story here. What? He conjured up a series of headlines in his mind. Woman inhales 30,000 calories in 3 minutes. This is the equivalent of 100 pieces of shortcake, 300 glasses of milk, or enough steak and rice to feed about 30 people. No, he needed something with more punch. Food for thought, an expose on obesity. No, that was no good. He wasn't writing for a fashion mag here. Gourmet day in Shibuya? That was it. He'd be able to whip something up if he went with the foodie angle. Minorikawa got up from his seat. That's pretty impressive, he said to the hungry diner. Do you always eat that much? The young woman glared back at him. Not always, she said. Suddenly tension filled the air. Oops, was that way too blunt of me? I mean, she is a young lady after all. Maybe I should change up my approach. Who the heck are you anyway? The woman asked. I'm a freelancer writer. I was hoping I could do an interview with you real quick. Oh, I'm going to get a bad end, aren't I? It's going to be like you never should have split up Cheery and Tama. But no, I got to keep out for Tama. Not a bad end. Huh. You want to interview me? The suspicion was plain on her face. I do. I mean, girls all over the world worry about their diets, right? I hear that, yeah. So would you be willing to share your secret, or your technique, or whatever, for how to eat without getting fat? What, me? Sure, I mean, look at the figure you're maintaining despite eating all this food. Smooth talker. The young woman's expression brightened up. Oh, you noticed. There's actually a lot that goes into all this. Yeah? The basic thing, though, is to eat 10 meals a day. Minorikawa struggled to keep his jaw from dropping. 10 meals a day? She flashed him a chubby-cheeked grin. Heh, you don't know how diets work, do ya? She chuckled. Eating only 1 or 2 meals a day, that's what'll make you fat. You gotta space your food out into smaller portions throughout the day. That's the fundamentals of dieting right there. Right, but what happened to the smaller portions part? Minorikawa had to bite his tongue. Ah, I see, he said. Any other pro-dieting tips you could share? Well, for the basics, I'd say always drink protein instead of tea, yeah? Drink protein all day? Seriously? Once again, it took all of Minorikawa's willpower to keep his thoughts to himself. Let's see, what else? Oh, there's this stuff called burning hammer too, but... She trailed off with a little wince. Wait. Minorikawa perked up. Did you say burning hammer? Oh, you know it? I've heard of it anyway, Minorikawa replied. He decided he was better off keeping his plans to head to the sales demo a secret. There's a sales demo later on if you're interested, the woman said as if she were reading his thoughts. Though full disclosure, I am working for them right now. She handed Minorikawa an advertising pamphlet. Great, because he didn't know how to get there. There was a more detailed map for the venue included. What a stroke of luck. Now he didn't need to rely on the crummy map in the project proposal anymore. He'd have no trouble finding the venue with the building's various floors all broken down for him. And actually, I gotta get back to work, the woman said. Sure, thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna hang back and finish up my copy here. The woman left the cafe and Minorikawa went back to his laptop. He'd gotten some new info on the Burning Hammer sales demo, but he'd also lost some more time. The surveillance camera piece still wasn't finished. It was going to be a near thing to get it done before the sales demo started. Yet instead of returning to his writing, he got out his cell phone. What if Toyama had gotten another of his crazy ideas? If he tried to hang himself again? The thought had Minorikawa too worried to work on his copy. The phone rang several times before someone picked up. Mr. Toyama, where are you right now? Minorikawa asked. Right now? I'm on the run, somewhere near Shoto. An upscale residential district. Despite being smack dab in the middle of the city, it's a quiet neighborhood, rife with greenery. The residence of the former governor of Tokyo is here, built on a massive 2,200 square meter plot of land. There's a shady hotel district a short walk to the south, making for quite the juxtaposition. Toyama was speaking in an oddly hushed tone. Shoto? After you left the office, guys came by to collect on my debts, so I made a run for it. Okay, so he wasn't dead, but the situation was still pretty bad. Look, we'll get you through this somehow, Minorikawa said, hoping it was true. Just keep your head down and stay out of trouble, stay where you are, you need to get back to the office ASAP. Nope. Just keep your head down and stay out of trouble. Stay where you are now. Stay where I am? But what am I supposed to do? Toyama's voice dropped in and out. It sounded like he was moving quickly. Find some place to hide and just lay low for a while, Minorikawa told him. Alright, Toyama said weakly. He hung up. Minorikawa let out a deep sigh, then turned back to his laptop. Keep out. At least I made it further than a bad end. So he never got that call from Chiri because, or not Chiri, Chiaki. Oh my god, where to though? Where to? Does that mean I can do this now without a problem? Let's try. Because I was tempted to see what that beeping was about. I'm guessing I was there, Minorikawa heard it, thought it was a bug, and was butting in. Gotten home yet? I'll skip ahead until new stuff happens. Oh. Wait, we're actually opening it this time. Curious, he took it down and opened it. The book was filled with articles and write-ups about the results of Osawa's research and the company's various achievements. Flipping through the pages took him on a trip down memory lane. There was even an old company memo welcoming Tanaka on board as his new vice director. There's a photo of Osawa shaking Tanaka's hand at the party celebrating his new position. It's a little peculiar to think that she had bothered to keep something so trivial. A series of magazine articles was nestled between the pages further into the book. These hadn't been clipped out for inclusion in the scrapbook itself. Osawa glanced through them. Floundering Okoshi Pharmaceutical arranges marriage of political convenience. It was a self-indulgent piece from some rag called 4-Star General Gossip, from right after he and I had gotten married. When the piece had first run, he'd been too furious to read it. Now he gave it a quick looking over. It was pretty much exactly what he'd expected. He talked about how one of the corporate directors had sacrificed his own daughter in order to keep one of his researchers on board, allowing someone else to come to harm for one's personal gain. In this case, the term is used figuratively, not literally. Referring, of course, to Makino offering Osawa Ai's hand in marriage. Rumors abound of marital strife between the newlyweds. The article went on to talk about how Ai had been dating another man before she and Osawa had gotten married. The whole thing was a bunch of puerile rubbish. Any marriage involved some kind of calculated self-interest, after all. Whatever the reasons for their union, nothing changed the fact that Ai was now his wife. With a faint sigh, Osawa put the scrapbook back on the shelf. Feeling disconsolate, he returned to his study and began flipping through his CD rack. His eyes scanned for Aya Kamiki's album, For Tomorrow, Forevermore. A lot of her more experimental numbers were on that album. Given how discombobulated he felt right now, this was what he needed to hear. Again, Osawa reflected on how there'd been a time when he didn't care about music at all. He'd simply purchased copies of the most popular CD of the moment as birthday presents for his two girls. And that it just happened to be an album by Aya Kamiki. Hitomi was thrilled by the gift, but Maria hadn't seemed terribly fond of it. The next day, she tossed her copy back on her father's desk. Figuring that throwing it away would be a waste, Osawa had stuck the CD into his computer to give it a listen. He was immediately bombarded by an intense beat bolstered by bold, uplifting vocals. Aya Kamiki wrote her own lyrics, which did a fine job of conveying the emotions of a teenage girl. Osawa could hardly believe it. After listening to just one track, he was well and truly hooked. Before the day was out, he had purchased her entire discography. Huh? He muttered. For Tomorrow should have been in the CD rack, but there was no sign of it. Where the heck is it? Why isn't it here? For a moment he wondered if he was going crazy, and then he remembered. It was at the lab. He'd wanted something to listen to on break at work, so he brought the album there. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Not being able to listen to it made him want to hear it all the more. Could you just go to YouTube or something? It wasn't like he could just go out and buy another copy right now either. He just had to borrow the copy he'd given to Hitomi all those years ago. Unable to contain his need to hear that music, he went into Hitomi's room. Here he quickly rummaged through the CD rack beside his daughter's bed. Part of him felt like he was being a little sneak thief. According to the email Tanaka had shown him, someone was trying to kill Hitomi. Under the circumstances, he knew that what he was doing was ridiculous, yet he still couldn't resist the impulse to find this CD. But his efforts were to no avail. There were no Ayakamiki CDs on the rack at all. Osawa pulled out every CD on the rack, but they were all classical music. He slumped back in disappointment. It had to be somewhere here in her room. Osawa jumped at the sound of his cell and fumbled to get it out of his pocket. Makino's name was displayed on the LCD screen. "I'm out front." That was all Makino said before hanging up. Hurriedly, Osawa began tidying up the CD rack. As he worked, he thought about what he was going to say to Makino. To think that someone had violated corporate policy to such unethical ends. It sullied his research. Osawa wasn't about to let anyone get away with it. And yet, as he was about to leave Hitomi's room, a sudden uncertainty gripped him. He hesitated. Did he have any right to condemn Makino for running trials in secret? His hand began to sweat as it gripped the doorknob. No, he didn't. How could he? His hands were dirty in all this too. We need to keep this a secret just between us. It'll be fine. We've already cleared animal testing. The memories hovered. Osawa himself had already administered the antiviral to someone, hadn't he? What? It was the only way. Muttering to nobody in particular, Osawa trudged toward the front door of his house. Who did he... Oh, to be continued. Did he inject Maria? Well, that's interesting. Still want to keep out with her. I haven't even really done anything with him yet. Let's go back to the jump point. Typing out a response. Speculation through his mind. What manner young lady like her could be dating one of her father's co-workers, was there? Unless she was all about finding herself a sugar daddy. Got the hiccups for some reason. No, he was being ridiculous. Achi banished the thought from his mind. Besides, Hitomi's personal life wasn't the problem right now. The problem was that cycle with the cane and the gun. Is something wrong? Hitomi asked. She'd finished sending her email. Oh no, nothing. Nothing at all. Achi did his best to look nonchalant. It was a good thing she couldn't read his mind. They exited Center Guy and resumed their approach toward Dogonzaka by way of Maruyamacho. There are many hotels in Maruyamacho. These are not ordinary establishments, but rather the sort of hotel where two people who are so inclined might redact it. A couple heading to this kind of place in the early afternoon would, without a doubt, be assumed to be bent on redacted. You might be wondering whether an option for these two to get up to mischief will appear as a selection prompt. Well, don't get your hopes up. This isn't that kind of game. Like, this released on the PS4 in what? I got the... They don't have the date on here? Really? Well, regardless, it's a PS4 release. So, yeah, it's going to be clean as a whistle because for some reason, like, you know, Sony, they're just... Like, anything related to sex is just goddamn awful, but, you know, like, brutal fatalities and God of War. Oh yeah, man, like more of that shit. That's some good shit right there, right there. Sign me right the fuck up. I mean, I'm just part of the camp like, hey, if the game is rated whatever it is, then more power to it. M for violence, hey, alright, let it. Kids ain't supposed to be playing it anyway. M for sex, kids ain't supposed to be playing that anyway. So just, I mean, it is what it is. Another long detour to decrease their odds of running into the gunman. They made an unlikely pair. Scruffy Achi, limbs lackadaisically swinging to hide his embarrassment, and brisk, purposeful Hitomi. Achi found himself watching her out of the corner of his eye. He could still feel her anxiety. He wished there was some way he could ease her fears. Hey Hitomi, mind if I ask you something? Sure, go ahead. Okay, so like, I realize this might be kind of a weird question, but he put on a serious face. What does the eco and eco-friendly mean? Huh? Like, I know it's about helping the earth and all, but I don't know what it really means, you know? Hitomi thought for a moment. I'm pretty sure it's short for the English word ecology, which is the science of examining the relationship between man and nature. A subset of biology that deals with the reciprocal relationship between organisms and their environment. Nowadays, the term can refer to cultural and social effects on the global environment. The latter usage can be broad and imprecise, making the exact meaning somewhat difficult to define. Oh right, science! Pleased with himself, Achi chattered on excitedly. A faint smile crept back into Hitomi's face. Say, you ever hear about the clean river here in Shibuya? Clean river? In Shibuya? Really? Ask 100 youngsters outside of Shibuya Station the same question, you'd probably get that same answer 100 times. Yeah, the Shibuya River. You know, that drainage channel we saw earlier? Wait, that's the clean river you're talking about? By no reasonable definition was the Shibuya River what anyone would call clean. That's the one, Achi grinned at her confusion. See, the river used to be clean a long time ago. I read about it in this book called Science Strikes Back, a popular monthly magazine abbreviated SSB. The series has been running for 29 years now, but the Strike Back appendix is still immensely popular with children. The woman who handles the home deliveries is known as the SSB lady, and children wait excitedly on the 25th of each month for her to make her rounds. I used to have that book, Hitomi chirped, her eyes wide with excitement. You're talking about that bit with the river that got turned into a song, right? The famous 1912 song Haru no Ogawa, The Spring Brook, with lyrics by Tatsuyuki Takano, and music by Teiichi Okano. Okano? It is said that the song was inspired by the view of the upper course of the Shibuya River during Takano's childhood. In the modern day, there is a stone monument bearing the song's lyrics along the Odakyu line between Yoyogi Hachiman and Sangubashi. Yeah, that's the one. You read it too? I did! Achi felt a giddy rush at this unexpected connectivity they shared. Imagine if there was still a clean, beautiful river here in Shibuya. It'd be the perfect place for taking a romantic stroll. Tomi looked up at Achi. She seemed to share his joy in this idea. Wouldn't it be amazing? Oh, well, that's Achi. Wouldn't it be amazing, Achi said, if that dirty little channel could be clean like it used to be? It would. Maybe as amazing as the look on Hitomi's face right now, Achi thought. Hitomi, tell me some more ecology stuff. Hit me with whatever you've got. She seemed happy to oblige, and so as they walked along, Hitomi explained the bits of knowledge she picked up over the years. Achi was quiet, hanging on her every word. The return to Dogenzaka became an impromptu environmentalism lecture. Hitomi continued until she had exhausted her ready knowledge. I just don't get it, Achi grumbled when she paused at last. I mean, why is it a bad thing if the planet gets warmer? Oh my god. Alright, Achi. Okay. Alright. Wouldn't that make winter in places like Hokkaido way easier? No, you see, because if the whole planet gets warmer, it'll cause the whole ecosystem to collapse. Achi racked his brain. And the ecosystem is what again? Is that like the solar system? Images of the cosmos filled his imagination. God, he's dumb. No, not really, Hitomi said. So is it more like a sound system then? Not really. Oh, but anyway, you're saying the problem is with the, what was it again? Carbon dioxide. Yeah, that stuff. I'm gonna have to cut down on that. Sure. That settles it, Achi declared proudly. No more soda for me. Soda? Hitomi asked. Yeah, it's carbonated, right? Hitomi burst out laughing. What? I'm serious. You don't think I can do it? Oh my god. I'm sorry, Hitomi said, catching her breath. It's just... Her face froze, her mirth abruptly vanishing. Oh no. Huh? Achi stared at her face in alarm. What is it? Dang, he gets around! He turned his attention in the direction Hitomi was looking. The man with the cane was bearing down on them. Oh, come on, you have got to be kidding me. He grabbed Hitomi's hand and ran. This time he headed for the main road, hoping to get lost in the crowd. Hitomi struggled to keep up. She was exhausted after all their earlier running. You can do it, he told her. The guy's got a cane. We can outrun him. The assassin was still hurrying after them. Once we get around the next corner, we'll be out on the main road. Yeah, okay. She strained to get the words out. Bit by bit, her feet were slowing down. It was another 50 meters or so to the main road. Achi realized that they might get caught before they got there. Sorry, Hitomi, he exclaimed, but I gotta do this. He scooped her up in his arms. Eep! By the time the squeak had escaped her mouth, Achi was already running full out. Achi? Please put me down? Don't worry, you're super light. Achi glanced back and saw the assassin, now far behind, break off his pursuit. But just as they rounded the corner, he heard the man call out to him. Achi almost stopped on reflex. Hold on. Did he just shout my name? How the heck does he know my name? Quaking with unease, Achi slipped into the crowd. Well, that's a turn of events. Achi, could you please set me down now? A meek voice pulled him from his panic. Huh? He looked down at the girl in his arms. People in the crowd all around them were watching and chuckling. I mean, I'm really happy you saved me and all, but being carried around like this is, Hitomi was blushing beet red, but Achi's expression had grown pale. Achi, wait. Had he really heard that right? That's what it had sounded like. He set Hitomi back on her feet, then used his shirt sleeve to wipe the sweat from his face. You okay? Hitomi asked. When we were running just now, did that guy say anything? Not that I heard, no. Huh. Had he just imagined it then? Maybe Achi was sure he didn't recognize the man. There is something weird about that guy, though, Hitomi murmured. She furrowed her brow. No matter where we run, he keeps catching up to us. It's almost like he knows where we're going. She was right. Finding a particular pair of people in a place as big as Shibuya bordered on the impossible. And yet somehow the assassin had tracked them down several times now. Yeah, Achi said. It's like he's got some way of locating us or something. He got a sudden idea. That's it. What if they're doing this whole tracking thing, but like backwards? What? Hitomi's eyes widened. Okay, so you know how in police shows they always stick a tracking device in the bag with the ransom money? Like that, but backwards? Oh, like that, but backwards. Yeah, tracking device. Okay, so backwards isn't the right way to describe this, but Achi doesn't realize that. He does seem to know what a tracking device is, at least. A radio transmitter that can be located by the signal it emits. The Japanese police sometimes refer to this as a beeper, not to be confused with the English slang term beeper, meaning a pager. Like, we still use those. Backwards. Yeah, like instead of putting the tracker on the money, they put it on you. Could be. Also, I forgot, this game originally came out on the Wii, so, yeah, there is a lot of old stuff in here. Alright, fair enough. YouTube was just starting, like, right when the Wii came out, so... I guess he did have to legally buy the CD. He couldn't just find the rip on YouTube, or I guess he could, like, go to Napster or something, but they're not going to promote piracy in a video game. Hitomi frowned. I don't see how I could possibly have a tracker on me, she said. I mean, I'm just wearing my clothes from home. Oh, huh. Well, then how is he doing it then? Barely a moment passed from the moment he got the words out of his mouth. Once again, the man with the cane stepped out on the road ahead of them. It really did seem as if he'd known exactly where they were going to be. How the hell is this happening? Achi groaned. He reached for Hitomi's waist, ready to pick her up again. It's okay, I can run by myself. Achi took her hand instead, and they raced into another alley. This guy just will not give up. At the far end of the alley, he could see a forklift parked beside a pile of cardboard boxes. Achi decided to... Don't drive the forklift because, like, you're going to be a moving, like... No, he's going to see you. He's going to shoot you. Throw the boxes. Ugh. Achi snatched up the nearest box, turned and threw it at the man with the cane. The box was filled with something. Something heavy. This ought to do some damage. He watched with satisfaction as it struck the assassin in the face. The man staggered sideways. Here, have another! One by one, Achi hurled every box in the pile. And one for the road. The last box was improperly sealed. It broke open as it struck the pursuer, sending several bottles flying. Oh no, that was burning hammer, wasn't it? They shattered as they crashed onto the street, splashing red liquid. The assassin dropped to one knee, scrubbing at his face with his hand. Achi looked on in surprise. He couldn't possibly have hit the guy that hard. Peering at the man more closely, he saw that he was spattered in red liquid. Apparently the stuff in the bottles had gotten in his eyes. Oh, he's going to be out for commission for a while. Now's our chance! Achi took off with Hitomi, leaving their pursuer kneeling in the alley. Their ragged breathing echoed through the maze of side streets. All that work just to wind up fleeing for their lives again. Achi ground his teeth in frustration. There are two main types of teeth grinding. The subconscious act of gritting one's teeth together while asleep. Or two, getting one's teeth together as a response to anger or frustration. Here we have an example of two. Roughly the same time, Minorikawa is grinding his teeth while trying to keep to his schedule. I guess this is going to break that keep out. Yep. Minorikawa took a look at his wristwatch and gritted his teeth. By the way, what sort of impression do you have of this wristwatch? Just respond with whatever happens to come to mind. Pretentious. That comes to mind. Damn, is it that late already? He needed to head for the sales demo. The surveillance camera article wasn't done, but he just had to leave it where it was for now. As he was slipping his laptop back into his bag, his cell phone rang. He looked at the screen and saw Chiaki's name listed as the incoming caller. Was she done with her interviews? Hurriedly, he picked up. Chiaki, how's it going? Several wet sniffles came through the receiver. Hey, are you crying? It's no use. Chiaki's voice was indeed punctuated by sobs. People won't stop to talk no matter how hard I try. Oh, come on. This again, really? I can't do it. Don't worry about paying me, just let me go home. Minorikawa was already operating on a too tight schedule. He didn't have time to worry about Chiaki on top of it all. Look, just slow down and take a breath, and keep at it a little longer. He should have seen this coming when he first called her. Her shyness was practically pathological. But if he cut her loose now, all this frustration would be for nothing. But I can't do it, Chiaki whined again. I'm sorry, I really am. Look, just calm down. Minorikawa was practically screaming into his phone. Just stay where you are until I get there, okay? Got that? Whatever you do, just don't move. Oh, this is the same bad ending, isn't it? Street interviewers were... Or is it? Leaving the money for his coffee on the table, he strode out of the cafe. Street interviews were tougher than they looked. Not many random passerby were willing to stop and do a back and forth. Still, being able to talk to people on the street was a fundamental skill for a freelance reporter. All Minorikawa wanted was for Chiaki to put in a little effort and make it happen. Although he found her personality frustrating, he actually quite liked her writing. Reading her words, you'd never guess what she was like in person. If she could just break the right story, he was sure readers would be quite taken with her. There was no time like the present. The plaza outside Shibuya Station was as crowded as ever. Minorikawa looked around and soon spotted Chiaki. Hey, what are you doing? He asked. She was hunkered down in front of the statue of Hachiko, squatting in an odd position. A group of kindergartners was gathered nearby, peering at her with sadness in their eyes, like she was a stray dog or something. A pair of girls from Minoriyama Academy's kindergarten. They always hang out around the train station after school. They're quite fond of killing time inside of the Tokyo 5000 series display car, the new landmark by the Hachiko entrance. The beat cop at the station's police boxes nicknamed them the Kinder Partners. Okay, that's actually adorable. What's this all about? Minorikawa asked. This is how I end up when I lose all my self-confidence. I just want to hide. Oh, for crying out loud, get up, will you? I don't wanna. Stop crying. Chiaki sniffled and wiped at her eyes. Let me ask you this. Minorikawa stared down at her. This picture. What is it that made you want to be a freelance writer? Well, I guess because I wanted to try my hand at writing. A dingling bit of mucus bobbed in and out of Chiaki's left nostril as she spoke. Okay, Minorikawa followed. And why is that? Well, I'm too embarrassed to say. Chiaki hid her face in her hands. Okay, never mind that then. Right now, you have a task that's been handed to you. You can't just say you can't do it. Minorikawa tried to keep his tone calm. No magazine in the world is going to let a novice writer just write about whatever they want. You have to prove yourself first. Get your fundamentals down. I already know all that. Minorikawa took the notebook from Chiaki's hands. Hey, she squeaked. Wait. Wait. You only talked to one person so far? There sure wasn't going to be a story in that. Yeah. Well, not a person exactly. Wait, what's this here? Tama? Wait, what's this here? A cat? No, I mean, yes, there was a person in a cat costume. Arg, what should I do? Where could that truck that took the burning hammer possibly have gone? I'm standing there racking my brain when I hear a voice call out from behind me. Excuse me.
Aw. Are you, happy with your life right now? I turned to see a woman holding a notebook. Huh? I mean, just... Sorry. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? I do not have the time for this right now. I'm more than a little busy. Oh no. I mean, I understand if you can't. She's giving me this hyper-intensive stare. I can't tell if she's trying to be intimidating or if she's actually afraid of me. Something about her is definitely off. Way too jittery and suspicious for my liking. Whatever she wants, I'd rather not get involved. I'm actually pretty busy, I say. Oh, but I mean, just real quick. It'd be a huge help. Please. But, please. Please. She bows so many times she looks like one of those drinking birds. A toy bird that functions by means of a simple heat engine mechanism, causing it to continually dip its head into liquid and then rise back up, sometimes falsely claimed to be a type of perpetual motion device, once a common sight in offices the world over. Creeping me out, decide to ignore it? No! Can't help but feel bad for this poor girl. I guess I can give her at least a few moments of my time. A person in need, yo. Alright, but please make it quick. Oh! Thank you! Thank you so much. She goes back into drinking bird mode. So, what was the question? Oh, right. So, are you, happy with your life right now? Well, right now, as you can see, I am a cat. Oh, a cat. Yes, I see, a cat. So, yeah, I'll put down cat. She just writes the word cat in her notepad. Right, thank you. Huh? Are we finished already? Yes. Yes, we can finish right there. She hangs her head a little and looks away. Well, that sure was quick. I'm not sure I get what it was all about. Did I really give her enough to be useful? I doubt it, but hey, at least it was over fast. That was pointless. I head off in search of the burning hammer once more. No matter where I wander, though, I don't spot the truck anywhere. Now there's only 15 minutes before the demo's supposed to start. I better make my way back to the venue. Maybe Cherry had better luck in her search. No, she went to eat. Back at the break room, I'm met by Mr. Yanagashita, who positively radiates despair. And being Spike Chunsoft, we have another series that's all about despair, but okay. Did you find it? I'm sorry. I tried. Yanagashita's shoulders slump further at my response. Have you heard from Cherry? I ask. No, nothing yet. I guess she's our last hope. All of a sudden, Mr. Yanagashita holds up a pendant. The situation's rough. I'd like you to wear this. It's a miracle stone like the one I saw back in the store. Oh, it's a miracle stone like the one I saw back in the storeroom earlier. This ought to kick up your luck a notch. Now I see that Yanagashita is wearing another miracle stone around his own neck. Using one bit of sham merchandise to help find another? Nice. This is the pinnacle of pitiful. That's what this is. Hurry up and put it on, before the luck runs out. Mr. Yanagashita's eyes are all bloodshot. Something tells me that refusing his request wouldn't be wise right now. How did that fit? After a moment's hesitation, I take hold of the pendant. The stone is blue and glittery. Oh, you're just holding it. Okay. Is that Cheery? Mr. Yanagashita squeaks. He whips out his phone. No, sorry, he mutters after listening for a moment. I think you have the wrong number. Guess it isn't Cherry after all. Okay. And yet he stays on the line. Huh? Really? His tone suddenly does a complete 180. Yes, please, thank you so much. As soon as he hangs up, Yanagashita strikes a victory pose. It's a miracle. Burning Hammer is back, baby. Huh? The recycling guy realized his mix-up and returned the boxes to the loading dock. Whoa, for real? You girls did great. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. I never seen someone come so close to literally jumping for joy. I'm gonna go prep the demo room. Tama, you go bring the burning hammer inside. With that, Mr. Yanagashita practically flies out of the room. Well, that's convenient. No way, I murmured to myself. This thing didn't actually work. Did it? I examined the miracle stone more closely. It looks like some kind of toy jewelry. I wish that I actually got paid my 20,000 yen. Hey, it's worth a shot. With the miracle stone still clutched in my hand, I hurry out to the loading dock. I brace myself before actually stepping out the door. It's there! It's really there! The cardboard boxes are scattered all around outside. Wait, scattered all around? What happened to them? Uh-oh. I suddenly have a very bad feeling about this. Apprehension gnaws at me as I open up one of the boxes. I shouldn't have thrown them. I shouldn't have thrown them. No! I shriek and my vision dims. The box is full of bottles of burning hammer. All of them smashed to pieces. Shouldn't have thrown them. Oh, man. Wait. That's a to be continued, not a bad end? Well, that's surprising. So we're done with Osawa. We're done with Tama. Alright, let's finish up Minorikawa. What's this here? A cat? Yes, a person in a cat costume. I thought since I couldn't see their face, it'd be easier to ask them stuff. What is this picture? The kids. What is... Oh, man. Fine, whatever. Now get back out there and give me some more. Minorikawa steered Chiaki toward the passing crowd. What now? Oh, wait, no. What, now? Yes, now. We've got no time to waste. I'll even stand by and watch for a minute. Now enough with the excuses and get out there. Talk to the children if you must. They are really squatted up. Minorikawa looked on as Chiaki wandered through the crowd. Her anxious demeanor seemed to repel everyone around her. On the rare chance that she did manage to flag someone down, the way she stammered through her initial questions made them take right off again. I love this. I hope the kid and her partners just keep following him around, just mimicking him. After a minute or two, she shuffled her way back, shoulders slumped. See, it's hopeless. Okay, some advice. First off, you aren't approaching the right people. Some people are clearly in a rush, you know? You're not going to have much luck trying to flag down a businessman who's visibly in a hurry. Now, folks who are waiting on someone, couples, groups, they're going to be less on their guard. But I mean, if I do manage to nab someone, how do I keep the conversation going? Chiaki asked. That was indeed the tricky part. whenever I get an answer I'm not expecting, I get all flustered.
Chiaki, have you ever played tennis?
Tennis? Well, yeah. I was in my school's tennis club.
She struck Minorikawa as being more of the manga club type, but that was neither here nor there. Okay, that'll make this simpler. What's more fun, rallying with an opponent or hitting the ball off of a wall?
Rallying with someone else, of course.
Minorikawa gave a hearty nod. And why is that?
Because when you hit the ball off a wall, you already know where it's going to come back to.
Revelation dawned on Chiaki's face.
Oh.
It's the same with interviews, Minorikawa said. Don't get flustered. Enjoy the rally.
But I don't think I'm composed enough to enjoy it.
Don't overthink things. Just let yourself enjoy the small talk.
Small talk? Oh, I'm sure I'm not any good at that.
She was starting to waffle again. Okay, let me ask you this, Minorikawa said, taking a step closer. Are you happy with your life right now?
I'm not happy with my life right now, no, Chiaki muttered.
She hung her head in dismay. Okay, so start with that, Minorikawa said.
Huh?
Chiaki blinked a few times as she lifted her head back up.
I'm not happy with my life right now. But what about you?
Oh, okay. I'm not happy with my life right now, but what about you? Like that.
Oh, okay.
A sliver of liveliness had crept back into Chiaki's voice. Minorikawa jabbed his finger right in her face. Right there, he said. Put on that face when you flag people down. Chiaki's smile widened. Aww, he's helping her build confidence. Can I have my own Minorikawa to help me build confidence?
I'll give it a shot. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. Good luck. Chiaki strode enthusiastically into the crowd and tried to flag down a Westerner who was walking hurriedly past. She even listened to a word I said? Minorikawa felt his short-lived triumph melt away. Am I just going to have to teach her everything again from scratch? Then he paused in surprise. Hold on. Okay, good. Whoa. Chiaki had snatched the man by the arm in an attempt to get him to stop. To Minorikawa's amazement, the gambit worked. Before long, it looked like the two were engaged in some kind of animated conversation. Maybe she would get an interview out of this after all. Heck, the look on her face was actually somewhat confident. Sometimes people could surprise you once you got past their surface issues. Now Minorikawa could head to the Burning Hammer sales demo with a little more peace of mind. Speaking of which, isn't that Maria and the guy that... Okay, this is getting interesting. Speaking of which, crap, what time is it? In a panic, Minorikawa checked his wristwatch. Why do you keep going back to this? Think about the wristwatch. That will tell you how you think about the opposite sex and whatnot. What? What? Okay. The demo was set to start in less than 5 minutes. Uh-oh. He really was cutting it close. Minorikawa sprinted through the intersection, heading for Center Guy. Seriously, can I have my own personal Minorikawa life coach? I could really use that. Like, you have no idea. Alright, so that's 3 to be continued. Still have Kano, who's relatively early in his day. And Achi is nearing his end. Achi, the team of illustration. Hitomi, he groaned when they slowed down to catch their breath at last. I'm so sorry. Hitomi was nonplussed.
Sorry? Whatever for?
I keep saying how I'm going to help you, but instead I just keep putting you in danger.
Achi, no. If you hadn't been with me, I'm sure I'd already be dead. No, Achi hurried to cut her off before she could finish. Don't go there, please. He sighed and spoke again more quietly. I just want to help you. Clenching a fist, he looked up at the sky. A tiny sliver of blue was visible through the narrow gap between the buildings. Hitomi hung her head. Honestly, I can hardly believe how much you've done for me. I do appreciate it, but still. The lengths you've gone to. Achi looked at his feet, then drew himself up. Well, I admit it's not just because of some gut instinct or your love for the environment, he said. There's another reason I'm doing this. There is? Achi paused, searching for the right words. I've got a little sister. Her name's Suzune. She's cute and smart, kind of the exact opposite of me, you know? His voice took on an uncharacteristic solemnity. Solemn is the base word. A T is the prefix. Solemnity. 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 Okay. His voice took on an uncharacteristic solemnity. That is a tough word, yo. But she's got a weak heart, so she's in this hospital. Aw. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But what does that have to do with wanting to help me? Back when Suzune was first admitted, I'd go and visit her every day. But she... Achi, you don't need to come visit me every day, you know? The quiet hospital room made Suzune's voice sound all the more frail. What are you talking about? Achi said. You know I'm worried about you. I'll be fine on my own, really. Achi had heard that line before. The more she insisted she was fine, though, the more reluctant he was to leave her. Besides, aren't you the amazing guy who helps hold Shibuya together? They need you out there. Achi didn't know how to respond to that. Much as it was flattering to think he played some important role, he was really just hanging out and goofing off with his pals. Certainly wasn't anything for his sister to be proud of. I'd rather you spend your energy helping people who need it more than me. What do you mean people who need the help more? Who could possibly need help right now more than you? Achi scratched his head in confusion, and his sister gave him a weak, tiny smile. You'll figure it out, she said. I'm sure they'll find you soon enough. But I'm gonna be here with you. I'll be fine. Suzune's face was pale, but her tone was firm. My big brother is gonna be out there doing his best to help people. That's what makes me happy. That's what keeps me going. Her voice was clear and unwavering, as if to head off his rebuttal. All right, Achi said with a reluctant sigh. So then, I guess, I'll just go out there and help people who are in trouble. Satisfied, Suzune smiled. Thank you. And you can promise me one more thing? Of course. Anything you like. He thumped himself on the chest. If you're going to help someone, make sure you see it all the way through to the end, okay? Okay. No calling it quits partway through, yeah? You got it. I just worry, Suzune said. I know you have a tendency to lose interest in things. Look, don't sweat it. I swear I won't give up on this. Achi stuck out his pinky finger. I want you to promise me something in return. Promise me you won't let this thing beat you. Suzune hooked her little finger around her brother's, her sad smile fragile as glass. And so there you have it, Achi said. Kind of a rubbish story, I know, not very funny. So your sister's heart condition, it's pretty bad? Achi nodded. You know, she called me amazing.
There's nothing amazing about me. Suzune, she's the amazing one. She's been in the hospital so long, in so much pain, but she never complains. All I do is hang out and goof off with my friends. He gave a shrug. I just keep thinking about how happy she'd be if I really did help people. And it turned out that finding people in need hadn't been all that simple. The only helpful thing Achi had been able to think of was going around picking up trash. And that's why Suzune's idiot brother left SOS to be Shibuya's garbage man. Did your friends know, Hitomi asked, about your sister? I didn't tell them. I didn't want to pin this all on her being sick. Ah, I see. At least now Hitomi understood what the fight with the local toughs had been about. The sound of approaching footsteps jerked them back into the present. Of course. The man with the cane appeared at the end of the alley. He raised his gun. There was no time to flee. Achi quickly stepped in front of Hitomi. If you shoot us here, people are going to come running, he said. I'm guessing you don't want to get pegged for murder. The assassin didn't flinch. Stay out of my way, Achi. This time there was no doubt. The gunman had spoken Achi's name loud and clear. How do you know who I am? The man stared at him through the sights of his gun. She has to die, Achi. It's for your own good. What? What? What does he mean? Hitomi whispered. Achi, what is he talking about? Achi's mind was a whirl. Things were coming at him too fast for him to process. I don't know this guy. Hitomi, please, you have to believe me. But... Hitomi took a doubtful step away from Achi. The assassin didn't miss his opening. He quickly aimed at her. Cut the crap, man! What do you mean killing her is for my own good? Once she's dead, you'll understand. The gunman's finger tightened on the trigger. What? Okay, well now I'm especially curious as to what's going on. Achi's story is really heating up. Well, that just leaves Kano. Oh, this is where I spoke with Sasayama, so yeah, it's going to be changed up now. Time to hurry, catch up. The man they were tailing is still strolling along, no hurry. Kept him in sight across another pedestrian overpass, circled back around. Still following the same MO, huh? Sasayama grumbled. Guess so, Kano said. How'd things go with the girl? He was careful not to take his eyes off the mark as they talked. You were right. She's not part of this. One of those street evangelists or something. Oh yeah? Yeah, she kept asking me, but are you really happy with your life? Wigged me out. I bailed out of there quick. So Sasayama, I'm thinking the attaché case is going to get handed off again any moment now. Huh? Sasayama peered at the mark who was scanning the plaza. He just entered, apparently looking for someone. I take one side, you take the other, Kano suggested. Sasayama's eyes went wide. Say what now? That way we apprehend both perps involved with the handoff. Sasayama didn't reply. Look, HQ isn't thinking about the hostage's safety, Kano said. But that needs to take priority here. Sasayama's face took on a rare solemnity. Why are we repeating this word now? It's been direct order. This is not something to do lightly. Every moment he added, but I'm on board. I'm sick of all this wandering around anyway. That's the Sasayama I know, Kano replied with a chuckle. Sasayama gave him a silent thumbs up. Yeah, same dialogue, whatever. It's quick enough. The two detectives took up position on opposite sides of the plaza. Kano called up Sasayama on his cell phone. Just checking something. Okay, it's 12:40. You ready? He asked. Just give the word. There were only two non-Japanese people in the nearby crowd. Both were eyeing their surroundings anxiously. Kano was certain the handoff was about to take place. And then... Well. If it isn't Mr. Toyama. Kano's ears perked up at the sound of an aggressive greeting, the voice dripping with feigned cheer. This again? No, because I missed this. Wait. No, I thought, okay, daughter, old man looked pained. Please just hold on, he said placatingly. Thought we agreed on 4, the young man snarled. To try and play dumb with us. Nothing like that, I swear. My girl was just hungry, so I stepped out too. Yeah, how come you didn't just order delivery, huh? Yes, right, I suppose that would work too. Don't you have me? The spot, the crook was tailing, probably wouldn't risk handing off the case with an uproar like this going on. What's going on over there? I'm not sure. Some kind of argument. I suspect I'm gonna get wary. This is the same thing. What? Find a way to shut him up and then get over here. Sure, alright. Head toward the argument. He was only halfway there when Sasayama called again and sounded panicked. Hey, Kano. You made a run for it, huh? Oh, crap. And been tailing had vanished in the brief time Kano had taken his eye. Okay. Alright. What did I do wrong here? Oh. It was because I told him to stay in Dogonzaka, wasn't it? I should have told Toyama to go back to the office. Okay, I'll give that a shot. Yeah, they're gonna give me the same hint. So someone needs to give these two some better advice. Yep. So someone needs to mute them outside their house. Okay, advice for Toyama. I'm just gonna tell him to go back to the office. You need to go back to the office, ASAP. The office? But they'll find me there for sure. Toyama's voice was a little more than a pathetic whimper. It's a little bit of reverse psychology. The last place the debt collectors are going to think you went is back to the office, right? Ah, I see, Toyama said. He sounded impressed by the suggestion. For now, just stay hidden until I can get these articles finished. All right, Toyama said weakly. He hung up. Minorikawa let out a deep sigh, then turned back to his laptop. Okay. And then we're back here, so I guess it's safe to return to Kano's timeline. Pincer attack. Two detectives took up position on opposite sides of the plaza. Kano called up Sasayama on his cell phone. You ready? He asked. Just give the word. There were only two non-Japanese people in the nearby crowd. Both were eyeing their surroundings anxiously. Kano was certain the handoff was about to take place. And then... Well. If it isn't Mr... What? I told him to go back! Oh my god. What am I doing wrong here? Reread the hint. So, okay, I did give him better advice, but they said two things need to happen. So someone needs to meet them outside their house. Osawa is the only possible one. Where would this fall? Consulting... No, that's Tanaka. Okay, because this happens at 12:45, so this... That happens around 12:35. Osawa is missing a chunk of stuff right here. I'm afraid to try this, but let's go. Now would you please leave me alone? He got up to leave the study. Sir, hold on. There's some I wanted to give you. Kajiwara reached into his pocket. I don't need a damn banana. Osawa fled the room. He needed to be alone, if only for a few moments. But even if he could somehow shake Kajiwara, the other detectives had eyes all over his house. He reached the limits of his patience. Couldn't even think straight anymore. He headed for the back door, trying to avoid the police. Opening the door quietly, he slipped across the yard and out through the back fence. He didn't want to venture too far from the house. He found a tiny alley and took cover there, thankful for a few moments to himself at last. While there, he caught sight of a man and a young girl, a father and his daughter, running past on the main road. It looked as if they were running from something. The man glanced anxiously back over his shoulder, dragging his daughter by the hand. Osawa watched absently as the pair rounded a corner and disappeared from sight. Not long after, a pair of thuggish-looking men came running along, heading in the same direction. You there, one of them called out. You see a guy and his daughter around here? Teru Toyama and his daughter Hana, they've come to the Shoto while running from loan sharks. Just a moment ago, Toyama was talking on the phone with Minorikawa. They should have come by this way. There was a hint of menace in his voice. Osawa feigned ignorance, and I already spoke with him on that timeline, so okay. Don't think so, no. Come on, Yutaro, let's go, said the older man. Aight, replied the other. The two dashed off in the direction the father and daughter had gone. Osawa took several long, deep breaths. He managed to calm down slightly, but the worry gnawing away inside him still lingered. Is that enough? Osawa groaned inwardly when he got back to his study. You're still here? Yes, sir. I was told to keep my eyes on you after all. Believe me, it shows. Mr. Osawa, if you're going to go outside, I appreciate it if you let me know first. What? Had Kajiwara realized he'd snuck out of the house? But more importantly, Kajiwara reached back into his suit pocket. Meaning to give this to you. Had a small plastic bag inside with a scrap of paper of some sort. So that is what clogging the toilet. Okay. Is that enough? Because they didn't give me an option to do anything. God, I hope so. Are you kidding me? What am I doing wrong? Do I have to make the jump? For it to count? Okay, let me see. So I guess this is to symbolize like them being held up just long enough for Toyama to get them off their tail? Time. But better advice. Might this have opened up a new option? Now I'm on the run somewhere near Shoto. Okay. The office, some guys came by to collect all my debts, so I made a run for it. Get back to the office ASAP. I'm just anxiously looking out for the save option. There, okay, I mean, no, not option, just the save notification. Okay. Is that enough? Oh my God! What is happening here? Oh. Okay, because I went back and switched it up for Minorikawa. Like, okay. I went back to Osawa's thing, made the jump to Minorikawa, and had Minorikawa say, okay, just stay where you are, hide. And then as I was scrolling back to Kano, I saw that everything past 12:35 was missing for Osawa. So I just came back here and they switched it up on me. So it looked as if they were running for something. The man flashed a look back over his shoulder, then took his daughter by the hand and pulled her off the road. They crouched behind some bushes, hiding. As he looked around wild-eyed, he spotted Osawa watching him from the alleyway. "Help!" the man called out. "Help me! Please! If these guys catch me, Oh!" The father's eyes went wide when he got a look at Osawa's face. You're... Huh? Osawa thought he recognized this fugitive, too, though he couldn't remember from where. The article! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! The article we found out about later. "There are some real nasty guys after us," the man said. "I know I have no right to ask you this, but please at least help me keep my daughter safe." "Probably you should go to the police if..." "No! They won't be able to help me with this. Please, I'm begging you. Help me." I'm sorry, but..." "Please, if not me, then at least help my daughter," the man pleaded. Osawa looked down at the girl. Unlike her father, she was calm and reserved. She reminded him of Maria just a little. Alright. Osawa couldn't just stand idly by. He decided to help them evade their pursuers. Alright, follow me. Also just checking something. Okay. Had to check my phone. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. He led the two back to his house and into the storage shed out back. You can lay low in here for a while if you like, he said. The shed was fairly large. There was plenty of space for the man and his daughter. I'm so sorry, the man said. I'm not sure how I can possibly thank you. Don't worry. Osawa closed the shed door and headed back out to take a look around. Two thuggish men came running up to him. No doubt these were the people the father and daughter were running from. You there, said the one with the sunglasses. See a guy and his daughter around here? Should have come this way? There was a hint of menace in his voice. A man and his daughter? Yes, I think I saw them run through here. Which way did they go? That way. Sweet, we almost got him. The pair sped away. Saul waited until they were fully out of sight, then called out to the shed. Alright, they're gone. The door stayed closed, however. I'm really sorry, the man called back from inside. Those guys might come back this way. Is it okay if we hide out here a little while longer? He sounded desperate. Pitiful, really. Sure, go ahead, Osawa said. With that, he headed back inside. Evidently, he just wasn't going to get any time alone today, no matter where he went. Okay. And now we're back here with this. And now everything beyond that opened back up. Okay, that's actually neat. Alright, and now, finally, I should be able to take care of this. I guess I should have went with my first mind. Like, I made the right decision the very first time. I just second-guessed myself. In regards of telling them to hide. Or rather, I thought I gave them incorrect advice, when in reality, I just needed to go back and do Osawa's thing. To be fair, I probably should have tried that first. Oh well, regardless. I just give the word there are only two non-Japanese people, blah, blah, blah. Kano was certain the handoff was about to take place, and sure enough, the second man approached the one holding the attaché case. After exchanging a scant handful of words, he took the case and walked off. Sasayama, I'll handle the guy with the case. Got it. Sasayama broke into a run, chasing after the man who'd taken the ransom. Kano hung up his phone and rushed to close the distance with the other man. You there! Stop where you are! The suspect turned and Kano recognized his face. He was indeed a member of the foreign crime syndicate that operated in Shibuya. Is the hostage safe? Kano demanded. The man's only response was an unsettling grin. Answer me! But though he repeated the question, the man remained silent. This is a distraction. Took out a pair of handcuffs and reached for the suspect's wrist. Because, like, the moment, like, you pull out the phone, he's like, oh, his attention is diverted. I'm going to push him off and, like, kick him and, like, run away and some shit. Equipment used by police officers to shackle suspects. You're really telling me about handcuffs. In Japan, the belt that makes up part of the officer's duty uniform has a storage pouch for a pair of handcuffs. The man pulled a knife from his breast pocket and swung it right at Kano's face. Kano managed to jerk away in time, but his momentum carried him too far backward, and he sprawled onto the pavement. Damn. Wow, that was the wrong decision? The suspect was already making a run for it. Suddenly, a large car of foreign make skidded to a halt, blocking off the man's escape route. A tall Caucasian man jumped out. He wore sunglasses and a crisp suit. Now cornered, the fleeing suspect brandished his knife. Be careful! But Kano didn't have enough, or didn't even have time to finish shouting his warning. There was a metallic poing and the knife went flying through the air. The man in the sunglasses had snapped his right foot up, sending the weapon flying. As the attacker's jaw dropped in astonishment, the newcomer proceeded to elbow him right in the face. The blow connected and the suspect went down hard. Ow. Fallen man turned his head to look at Kano. His mouth moved as if he was attempting to say something. He never got it out. The man in the sunglasses kicked him in the face. With a groan, the perp slumped down, unconscious. Hey, Kano snapped. What the hell are you doing? He stormed over to the man with the sunglasses. Oh my god, it's the guy from the Matrix. Like one of those little agent clone guy things. The man nonchalantly dusted off his suit. You were ordered to watch and see where these guys went, right? He spoke in fluent Japanese. Imagine that you are a Japanese person who has never been in a situation where you suddenly had to speak to a foreigner. You haven't used English in ages. Your tension grows. You think back to English class in school, but nothing you remember is helpful. You muster up the courage to choke out a stammered, Do you? The foreigner responds fluently, in your own language. Nihongo de daijoubu desu. It's alright. I speak Japanese. What happened to that Japanese sense of humor I've heard so much about? Who? Who are you? From the U.S. Embassy's Regional Security Office, the man replied. An embassy is where ambassadors from a foreign country lodge and conduct much of their official diplomatic business. Under international law, ambassadors are guaranteed diplomatic immunity, and the embassy grounds are considered territory of the home nation. The U.S. Embassy's Regional Security Office is responsible for the security of American diplomatic facilities and personnel, and provides American citizens in Japan with information on public order. It is located in Akasaka, in the Minato ward of the Tokyo metropolis. He presented Kano with his ID. That is the most American goddamn name I've ever heard. Wow. Jack Stanley. His title was listed as Security Assistance Officer. Kano glanced at the car he'd shown up in. The license plate was blue with white lettering. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs? But the ministry wouldn't just send some diplomat to intervene in a police investigation? Unless it's an international thing. Kano pulled his phone out of his pocket. Sasayama's name was displayed across the LCD screen. How are things on your end, Kano? I have the suspect in custody. How about you? Sasayama hesitated. He got away from me. What about the attaché case? I'm sorry, but he's still got to be around here somewhere. I'm gonna go look around some more. Sasayama hung up. What's your name, detective? Jack Stanley asked as Kano was processing this new information. Kano from the Shibuya precinct. Alright, Kano. I'm going to need you to follow my instructions for the next while. Why is that? Instead of answering, Stanley took out his cell phone and made a quick call. After a few moments, he held the phone out for Kano. Here, permission from your boss, he said. What? Kano squawked. He took the phone gingerly, bracing himself. Kano speaking. You imbecile, what the hell are you thinking? It was Kuze, and was he furious? Understandably, so really. Kano had disobeyed a direct order, and for what? All he'd accomplished was losing track of the attaché case. I'm sorry, sir. You really think sorry is gonna cut it? You're off the force, Kano. Kano slumped, defeated. He had no reply. He knew he deserved whatever punishment he got. Still, orders from up top didn't trump the hostage's safety. If he could have gone back and done it all again, he was sure he'd make the same call. Maybe that meant he wasn't detective material, but so be it. That's what I want to tell you, Kuze continued. Oh my god. But for now, I need you to follow the instructions of the guy there, Stanley. Do whatever he tells you. Sir. Kano hadn't seen that one coming. He disobeyed orders. That was undeniable. And yes, he knew he deserved a reprimand. But being ordered to tag along with some stranger who just turned up out of the blue? What the heck? May I ask why the US Embassy is involved with this? No more questions, Kano. Step in line. Please. Just hold on. Sir, I have no idea what's going on here. Kuze let out an exasperated sigh. That makes two of us, kid. And with that, the director hung up. It sounded like even Kuze didn't have the whole story here, which meant that orders were coming from someplace higher. A foreign syndicate moving the ransom around, the US Embassy. Whatever was going on, it was more than just a local kidnapping case, and Kano was deep in the middle of it. He handed the phone back to Stanley. A few moments later, two detectives from the MPD arrived on the scene. Stanley handed over the fallen criminal to them. Okay, you're chasing a bum lead, you know, Stanley said as he watched them carry the man away. What do you mean? Kano asked. I mean, this kidnapping isn't about the money. My priority is the girl's safety. Right now, your priority is doing what I tell you to do. Kano gave him a scowl, but Stanley ignored it. The guy we just, arrested, he asked. He tell you anything? No, nothing, Kano said. Really now? All trace of emotion drained from Stanley's eyes. His gaze pierced Kano like icy daggers. It held a glimmer of something dangerous. Something Kano had seen plenty of times since he joined the force. He wasn't looking into the eyes of some diplomatic liaison. No. This was a man who knew how to kill, who'd killed people before. With some effort, Kano managed to regather his sense of professionalism. He didn't tell me anything, he repeated. I just know that he's a member of some foreign crime syndicate that works out of Shibuya. I probably know some of their hangouts. Show me, Stanley said, cool as an automaton. We'll take my car. Kano wiped away some of the sweat that had beaded on his brow as they headed for the vehicle. He was just sliding to the passenger seat when Kuze radioed over the wireless. Okie dokie, folks, listen up. The childish tone was back in his voice, full force. Kano stiffened on reflex. He knew what that meant. So, Hitomi Osawa has, gone missing. What? Kano couldn't believe his ears. Wasn't Tateno supposed to be protecting her right now? Is that man with the cane? But why is the gun? Oh shit. Also, Detective Tateno hasn't radioed in. And we can't reach him from our end either. No way, Kano blurted out. It can't be. So yeah, Kuze continued, he might have gotten caught up in this incident too. It wasn't like a detective of Tateno's stature to go incommunicado during an investigation. It can only mean that something had happened to him. Something major, like this phone ringing. Okay, something major had happened to Tateno. So is that the guy with the cane and the gun? And if so, why is he trying to kill Hitomi? This is getting deep. But to be continued. I would do anything, whatever it took. That was sarcasm, wasn't it? Time's up. I'll pay you double what they're worth. Any evidence has been covered up. I have no clue where this is going, but we've now passed lunchtime. We're heading into 1 o'clock. Who can you trust? I don't know. I don't know who I can trust. This is getting crazy, yo. But yeah, next time we're continuing on. This, oh my god. I don't know who I want to start with. I mean, Tama's going through some shit. The plot is thickening with Osawa. Like, somebody doesn't want him to leave. Oh, man. Then Minorikawa, like, he has to get down to the demo. Kano now is, like, friends with Jack Bauer. And the guy with the gun knows Achi's name. I might start with Achi next time. That's what I'm most interested in. But yeah, see you all next week for some more Let's Play 428 Shibuya Scramble. Oh my god, this is getting good. Goodbye.